Welcome to today's unfinished business stream. Every now and then I do like to just catch up on some things we were unable to close out previously on viewer levels, usually for lack of time. And so we'll be beginning with something by Redneye that I think was submitted to me probably about 2 weeks ago. We got quite close to the end. This is Grindalorian Escape. It has momentum control at jumping level. And welcome in, Mamuga. You're salty, but there's nothing you'd like to share. Okay, I see. You might want to maybe get a drink of water to tamp down that salt. But anyway, we'll see how salty we get when we see how long I crash against this one. As I said, I did previously get fairly far, but not far enough that I was able to actually stick it through all the way. So let's see how it goes. Some early attempts, of course, will probably be spent just relearning it. Because I don't actually remember much about my technique here. Oh yeah, this is just a bonus of some sort. Okay, that's right. And then you kind of have to lean forward and backwards quite a bit to get some of the jumps going. So this one takes a little bit of fluency because you do need to kick the Koopa to the right and then get up to the question block. And I did manage to have it down pretty consistently in the previous stream, but it takes a little bit of practice to get sorted out. So that's kind of why this level demands a bit of a longer sitting, I think, because so much of it is about getting comfortable with jump arcs that are just a little bit weird sometimes. Yeah, you can hit that muncher, and then you need that because that'll give you the shell. Nope. So we'll see. I mean, I did nearly finish it, I think. I had looked at the goal screen after I... Not the goal screen, rather, but the previous screen after I had attempted this the last time, and I think I was only just a few jumps away from the finish, like maybe one big hurdle, so... We'll see how long it takes for me to re-establish progress. You missed Scrabble yesterday and you were playing Minecraft? Yeah, we had a pretty lively Scrabble stream yesterday. We had a raid from another Scrabble streamer and a couple of very serious players, including some former champions and such, dropped by and kind of give me some very constructive criticism about some of the plays that I was missing. But I hope the Minecraft has been going well. Oops. Pitching forward a little bit hard on that muncher. Yeah, a lot of it is just getting used to the arcs again and making the early inputs second nature, and so this is something that requires a lot of fresh practice just to get all the landings straight. And yeah, Mamuga, it's been doing pretty well. And Puzzle Stream went really well earlier this week as well. I know you were here for part of it, but we actually managed to get through, I think, everything I tried on the puzzle stream. So, for once, actually had a decent 100% record on everything I attempted. I mean, of course, I was doing some things that were a little bit easier and shorter than some of the really ambitious pieces that I've been seeing recently, but, you know, we won't complain too much about that. Okay, missing that shell over there, and I was just a little slow under reaction time, I think. Yeah, Mamuga, I'm glad you find the content here interesting. I may be rotating in something that is another game over the next week or two, but can't really confirm that yet. Last thing we did would have been in the 3D world, I think. And before that, Ori and the Will of the Wisps back in March. But yeah, every month I like to spend at least a week or two just to rotate a different game into the midweek stream. And I do have a couple ideas for that. Okay, let's just get this straightened out. Yeah, so this level, every jump, rather, is a controlled jump when it comes to how far you're pitching forward or back, and even though it requires quite a lot of control and practice, it's actually really quite satisfying. Lemuga, do I have enough games? I have far too many games. I am incredibly backlogged, and one of the reasons I'm so backlogged is, of course, that in most cases I just prefer to play Mario Maker. Okay, once again overshooting that shell. I think I was a little bit behind in time anyway. I didn't quite like my placement there. The marker is accurate though, so I think I just need to clean that up slightly. Yeah, this level is all about the landing adjustment. Right, because bomb you need to kick to the left and then jump up the on-off. Still kind of doing the first reread on some of this, after not seeing it in about 2 weeks. But we'll see. I feel like this is definitely doable. It's just a matter of how long it will take for me to reestablish everything that was happening. So yeah, Momuga, I don't know if you play very much outside of Minecraft and Mario Maker, but I find that games like that have a lot of sandbox building do have a way of just monopolizing all your time and pushing out all the other games in your collection. It's a very different experience to really commit to one of these games as opposed to just playing a lot of short, say, 5 to 20 hour experiences one after another. And occasionally, because I'm spending so long on some levels here sometimes, that's, you know, I have levels that might take me, well, half an hour on viewer levels, or an hour or two if I really grind away at them separately, that it's easy to forget how short a lot of games actually feel in comparison if they are things that can be finished, say, in the span of about 10 hours. Whoops. Interesting what was going on with that shell there. Oh, I see. I think I know what went on that time. Just a matter of speed. Okay. Yeah, previously that shell hadn't really given me any trouble. Nope, just kind of slipped there. Nope. So yeah, we'll see how much of this we can straighten out, and then we'll hopefully get a few clears today. I mean, today I don't know how many clears I'll get at all, because it's sort of in the very nature of doing unfinished levels from previous streams that they're all going to be relatively hard, or at least time-consuming. So, we will see how it goes. Nope. So yeah, just a matter of straightening everything out. Not quite. Do need to pitch forward quite a bit on that landing. Feels quite nice when you do get the arcs, though. And that's when you hit them accurately, they don't feel awkward, they actually do feel quite comfortable. I think that's a very important thing to note about this level, that there's a good kind of tactile feedback to when you are doing things correctly and when you have your angles straightened out. So, yeah, the way you land on the first Koopa is actually pretty important when it comes to whether you'll have the height to continue from there. Nope, just a little bit short on that bomb. And yeah, I am landing a little bit short on that Koopa, usually because I'm hedging a bit to the left just to make sure that we eject the Koopa out of the shell in the correct direction. Sometimes it's easy to go just a little bit too far to the left and not get in position for the question block. So we'll just see how that goes. very far short of the block that time. Okay. Not quite. And yeah, we just need to push on until we get back to the limit of my progression so far and just reestablish some of the stuff that I'd forgotten from the last time I played this. Because after that, yeah, it's going to be bomb kick to the right, bomb kick to the left. And then we got some switch activations after that. No, hedging a little too much there. Still need a fair bit of forward momentum, just... Yeah, you need to kind of have forward momentum going into that landing. You can't just back into it, which is the mistake I make sometimes when I'm doing the adjustment. Nope, need the spin jump. Wrong way. Yeah, landing on the left fairly cleanly is fine, it's just that I do need to pitch forward when I go into that, so... A couple of things that'll work out consistently as I go. So right, left, and a little bit slow on the bone shell. Just a matter of reaction time there. Okay, this is going fine. And yeah, everything is actually recovering, except, of course, overshooting slightly on that jump once again. Usually there are a little set of fluctuations, I guess, in my pacing leading up to that, where I'm not exactly sure about my speed relative to that of the shell. And we clean that up. We should be okay. Okay, forward we go. And forward, nope, that's just a miss. And back up. And down and forward. Nope, that's going to be quite a bit short. Yeah, definitely the landing on the second kick on a bomb to the left is something that can be a bit hard to see because I do go off screen leading up to that drop. I mean, it's still nice to have the half screen building here constrain the camera, so you never have to worry about the camera bobbing up and down, even though you're changing height quite a bit. Very essential to this level, but it does mean that occasionally when you go high, there is going to be the risk of some off-screen play. And that's something that could lead to some tricky landings. So, whoops. Let's just back into this. Whoops. Still quite a lot we can clean up here. Still coming quite a bit short. Not sure, but that's a dotted blue block at the very start. I think that's maybe just a takeoff location. I'm not exactly sure what it's telling me, if anything. I actually like taking off from the donut quite a bit better in terms of spacing. Okay. There we go. I believe that hitting the yellow turn block there isn't strictly necessary. And hello, Andy Mocha. Hope you're doing well. And okay, let's see if we can do this. Okay, starting to clean some of this stuff up a little bit more consistently. Oh, that's a mistake I don't often make. Bit of a weird drop there. You're doing well, good to hear that. As for me, well, I mean, there was that spin jump there that I just completely missed. But yeah, this is a level that was previously shown to me in one of my viewer level streams, which I do regularly on the weekend. And so today we are just mopping up some of the levels that I didn't quite finish, because people do send me some longer and harder content that I do want to clear. And sometimes I do have to do that on a separate day just to make sure we have enough time to get in a bit of practice. But yeah, this one been a pretty satisfying level so far, even though I've been having a bit of trouble in certain spots. You're trying to beat a level, I see. You'll have to let me know what kind it is, whether it's just platforming or puzzling or something else that is blocking you off for the time being. Okay, down we go. Yeah, always a bit of a weird landing there, depending on the height of my jumps leading up to it. I have a bit of trouble estimating the speed of that shell. So that's always going to take a little bit of adjustment as I try to get back in position, which won't always be the case. Okay, up we go. It's really hard. Yeah, I mean, a lot of content in Mario Maker is. I mean, people, of course, have different skill sets that they bring in with them. It's very easy to lose perspective on how hard a lot of this content is when you've been playing mostly Mario Maker for a while. Because, of course, the life balancing of a lot of officially developed platformers, professional platformers, I guess, often comes out feeling quite different. And yeah, it sometimes just takes practice, but it depends on the level, of course, whether it's playing fair with you and whether the skill set is within your reach. Nope, pulled back just a little bit too much on that shell. I do need to have rightward momentum going into it. You also make hard levels, so how hard are we talking about here in terms of clear rate? Because there's hard and then there is really hard. And quite a large scale there in between. I mean, in terms of technique, there's quite a big difference between, say, something like a 1 to 2% level and, say, a 0.3 to 0.5 level. Actually, a huge jump to get from one to the other. And it's often easy to forget that, you know, even stuff that's in the 1% zone still kind of gets technically classified into super expert much of the time. Because comparatively it feels so much easier and more approachable than some of the stuff that's truly Kaizo hard. This one I'm playing right now is at about 0.6 or 0.7 in terms of clear rate. And it's estimated about 30 seconds on the length, so we've seen most of it. Thank you for the follow. Note, a little bit too early on that bone shell. Need to hang right quite hard in the bone shell in order to get in position for the P. 0.24, yeah, that sounds hard. I've beaten very few things down in that zone. Of course I've tried. And, you know, I mean, that's the only way to get better, is you need to practice that sort of thing. I was working on a shell level that was under 0.3 for a couple of weeks on and off, and we just cleared that last week on stream, in fact. And when I finally got it, it felt really smooth. Just after quite a few sessions of having to learn it slowly. Okay, a little further than before, but slipping off the P, going into the next series of jump. It's going to be a bounce to the right off that spring after that red Koopa, and then you kind of spin jump off as you go back to the left, I think. I have seen that part before, so I need to go back to it to work that out. Cutting the jump off a little bit short here. Okay, here we go. Not quite. You've also made easy levels? Yeah, it's kind of nice to have a bit of a range as a maker. I found that, you know, making something like an easy level that is still interesting to more experienced players is one of the harder things to do in this game. There are a few people who are very good at it, of course. Okay, I do need to have some longer jumps there because, yeah, the donut block drop pretty much happens off the thwomp as soon as I get into that spring. So when I go to the sideways trampoline, that's already close enough to have the thwomp activation. Once I have the thwomp activation, I need to buy myself a little bit of time with higher jumps so I can get on top of that donut block as it descends. Kind of getting in a little too early on the donut block was a problem I was having the last time I played this. So that's going to take a little bit of practice, I think. But I did make it past there a few times last time, and I think that's fairly close to the end. But that was definitely one of the more difficult adjustments to get used to. So, we'll see how it goes. Okay. Forward. And okay. There we are. Bomb to the left, bomb to the right. Great. Looking good. Yeah, cutting off momentum a little bit too much there. I do kind of need to go left to right into that lower bounce, and that's something I need to keep in mind and throughout this whole level, in fact. That my direction of travel going into the bounce matters quite a bit when it comes to the momentum I'm going to be carrying forward with me. So, there is sort of a narrow timing window to correct your direction going into the next jump, and that's something that is kind of an important skill set here. This is not a level that you can just kind of play on autopilot. There's a lot of horizontal adjustment absolutely everywhere. Not quite. But yeah, we'll get there. Eventually. Hey, you're going to bounce on this guy, get up here. And up we go. Back down. Okay, here's the donut block interaction. Still getting there a little bit too early. I pretty much need the fullest jumps possible. I think I had discovered previously that full jumps are generally going to be okay. Full jumps in terms of height. They're generally going to be okay in this level, that it's mostly just about direction control. And that a lot of the obstacles seem to be timed with the expectation that you are doing full jump height everywhere if you can. So, that's just something we'll have to keep in mind. It's something I did notice about the tuning when I had played this previously. But yeah, it's pretty much all going to be direction control. So directional adjustments absolutely everywhere to make sure you're carrying enough momentum forward with you. And occasionally not too much momentum. Just in case of emergencies. Okay, up we go. And yeah, that's going to carry me forward. Still having a bit of trouble with the timing there. I mean, the spacing does look correct. I'm just falling a little too far to the right, and I may actually just be late there, in fact. So tightening up some of the jumps may be an okay idea, after all. Okay. There we go, and yeah, you can see I pulled back a little bit too much that time. I did accurately hit the shell, but without enough forward momentum to get over to the bomb, and so I think it's partly a timing issue that I'm getting onto the shell a bit too late. Okay, this one should work. It's always nice to know in advance that the jump is just going to work out the way I want. I don't remember what this... Oh, yeah, okay. No, that's the clear. Keydoor at the very end. Okay, no, I see. It's because if you go over to gold, then... Yeah, which I actually could have done. I was almost a little bit shocked by the damage boost there, but okay, that's the escape. Made that fairly quickly, in fact. Once I got past the final donut block, everything was fine. Previously, I just lost a little bit too much time after the last P-switch activation and just dropped into the abyss. So there was actually a second one from Red Nye that I had failed to finish recently, and so we'll try to get that. So yeah, Andy Mocha, you're back. Yeah, you just missed the clear, actually. We just got the clear a moment ago. And there was a second one by Red Nye that I had failed to finish recently, and so since we got that clear quickly, let's just go back to this one. This is a very similar difficulty and similar length. And I don't remember much about it despite playing it last week, so we'll just try to relearn what we can of Shell Spring Supreme, see how far I got last time, and see if we can proceed from there. So the idea here is to reach the goal without landing after leaving the ground. Okay, yes, that's right. Pardon me, just one moment. Okay, so let's start this one over quickly. Yeah, it's going to be a full jump there. Just need to carry it forward, and the jumps are actually going to be more forgiving in this one than in the previous level, I think. It's just that I do need to be aware of the markers and to aim for the markers as landing locations whenever necessary. And it seems that the markers themselves are, again, pretty much almost always tuned around full jumps. Yeah, that's going to be a throw. We obviously need a bit of a better bounce off the mole there. No, clear condition failed by going over the corner. But yeah, given the timings and also certain things like the thwomp activations, I can kind of see how the mechanism is timed to be pretty forgiving to when the player gets within range. Okay. Yep, I do need to bounce atop that after throwing the spring to bounce the big buzzy shell up. So that interaction will take a little bit of work to learn, but we'll hopefully get that done. Okay, up we go. And yeah, not quite over the shell there. I pulled back a little bit in terms of momentum. Didn't quite land dead center on the big buzzy shell that time, having pulled back excessively, so Once again, bumping a few walls, leading me to not quite turn a corner accurately. So yeah, Andy Mocha, if you're still here, I do regularly do viewer levels in the same time slots tomorrow and the day after, so Friday/Saturday and Saturday/Sunday. And we take all kinds of things in the queue, so just that we don't necessarily finish everything in one go, as you can see from the existence of this stream that we're doing now. So yeah, we'll see how much of my unfinished pile I can get through in this stream. Once again, pulling back a little bit too much. I need actually full forward momentum after the mole. That's something that I should keep in mind. I think I have an instinct to pull back because I'm sort of expecting to have to hedge on the landing on a big buzzy, but that's actually not going to be the case. I do need to just go forward all the way. Much better. No, I'm not supposed to hit the POW, I'm supposed to grab the POW. So the way I was going over that arc was a little bit inaccurate, but we recovered a lot of progress at once that time, so that tended to work out pretty well. Okay, grab the POW. I don't know what's going on here. I think, yeah, I was supposed to bounce off the shell. And then this is going to be the POW throw for the muncher. The marker lets you hit accurately, and that will be it. So we're fairly close. Mang, welcome. Mang, I don't know if you... I think we discussed it. I don't know if you still have a working copy of your recently deleted level... Flight of the I Am the Supernova, still hanging around in the editor. If you have something like a clear check copy that you want to risk uploading briefly for me to grab locally, like even if Nintendo doesn't want you to keep that online, I'm totally willing to play it on stream. Because I was looking at that as something to do, and that would give it a clear race, possibly take a bit longer. If you want to, of course, you don't have to, but that's certainly an option. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, it's kind of missing that lip again. Do need full forward momentum, as I was saying before. We have seen most of this, it's just that I was a bit unclear on what was going on in that final segment after grabbing the POW, because I was reading some of the markers for the very first time, so... I think I basically have this. Oh, you forgot to make a backup. Yeah, I guess you probably have a very full editor at this point. I do think it's extremely intrusive of Nintendo to be nuking that stuff locally once you've kind of clear-checked it and marked it for upload. I mean, I generally think that, you know, no matter what people may think of Nintendo's deletion policy, that you should be allowed to do anything you want locally and offline. Like, I see absolutely no problem with having the glitchiest stuff go on, you know, on your own drive. Okay, I still don't really get that. That sort of straight line down here. I think that's supposed to be a shell deflection that comes back towards me and gives me a second shell bounce, but I actually don't know, unless the right arrow is telling me to fall all the way down to this location and get the shell bounce. I think the right arrow actually is telling me to fall, that I'm supposed to... I don't know what that track is doing then. Because the down track is telling me something, and the right arrow is telling me something, probably just to hold forward and shell bounce, and then POW throw, and then get on the mole, so... But yeah, really too bad you lost that one. I mean, I assume that Supernova at least played it on his stream. So I'll have to go back and look at some of the footage of that because I was quite curious. Okay. I think it's as bad a situation as it is, too, because there's just no line of communication or appeal to Nintendo. Like, this is exactly the kind of thing that does drive people out of the game, which I find to be extremely unfortunate. I should do some kind of glitch showcase on stream sometime, where I grab things that people are unable to keep uploaded and just stream a whole bunch of it at once. Totally brick my Switch in the process because they've exploited some kind of memory leak. That might be a fun thing to do, actually, just like a glitch stream with things like Unamas concepts and other things. I mean, I have kind of shown off one or two deleted concepts on a stream before, but you know, not as part of a full program. Okay. Grab POW up here, up here. And, I see. So the line there is to kind of ensure that you pull back a bit to hold a position that will allow you to kick the shell to the right. Immediately after you kick the shell to the right, you do a drop. Same here with the green shell. It's the same kind of indication as what's going on with the green shell up in this earlier area, so we kind of have the right idea, but not quite. So I feel like, yeah, this is definitely going to be clearable. In fact, now that I look at it, it's easy enough that I don't know why I wasn't able to finish it on viewer levels. Same in the one before this, but the one before this I was literally one jump away at the point where I had quit previously, so probably just crunched for time. Okay, this is looking pretty solid so far. This level actually does feel easier than the 0.6, but oh yeah, no, need to hold on to the POW a bit longer because you need to make direct contact with the Muncher. Oh, they don't delete the level, but you can't upload it anymore even if you change it. Okay. I'd heard some stories about people having like some things locally being interfered with, but that may have been a few patches ago. Right, and that's why you have to make the backup copy before you mark it as the upload, right? Because once... my understanding is that once it has the yellow upload marker on it, then the server has kind of already coded that as something that can only be uploaded once. I don't see what, with that system, would prevent just remaking the level, although I can see that, you know, if you know that you can't upload it, then you wouldn't want to put in the effort necessarily to just reconstruct something brick by brick in the editor. Yeah, that's really too bad. I mean, with this and the yeeting over its clown card level, have those been the only deletions so far, or were there some other ones I don't know about? Because I know that you used to have a huge list that was closing in on 100, and that you deleted a lot of your own stuff anyway, but in terms of Nintendo side deletions, I only knew about this one and the clown car high jump level that I saw last year. Anyway, up we go. And you gotta think sometimes too, like whether, you know, this is actually some kind of automated deletion that's going on, or if somebody just filed a frivolous report and they didn't actually look at it properly. But I guess when it comes to anything that's sort of like a, if you're worried about some kind of potential security issue with, you know, people using a memory exploit that would crash the Switch or something. Like, that's the kind of thing where you could imagine Nintendo intervening and doing so in a way where they're not disclosing any information because they don't want people to exploit the system, right? But I can't imagine why that would be the case for stuff like, you know, Clown Car hyperspeed tech or anything like that. And hey, up we go. Alright, let's see if we can close this out a bit. Bonsai Reboost was deleted for having an inappropriate description, and you had to rebuild that as well. Oh, wow. Yeah, considering that, you know, things like titles and description text are so easy to just change at the moment of upload, that seems to be a weird implementation thing on their side as well. Oops. Yeah, it's always kind of strange to think that, you know, even though I'm not somebody who's a ROM hack player, I'm really just playing Maker 2. Because I kind of like that open environment we have here with the, not only the tool set, but the fact that we have the kind of shared rule set for things like physics interactions and puzzles and so on. That's ultimately the people who are kind of investing their effort and energy in a ROM hack scene, like, they're kind of going to be the winners in the long term. In terms of just having enough of an internally managed community that their stuff will last past any server shutdowns and other shenanigans. You can kind of see why a lot of people kind of migrate from the Maker games over to the ROM hack side, is what I'm saying. Not only for the kind of customizability of it, but definitely sort of for the sense of long-term preservation as well, that, you know, they're much less worried about the control over their work. But yeah, I mean, I've only really ever watched ROM hacks. I don't play them so much. I was setting up to play them in early 2020, but then that was right before the 3.0 patch in this game, and so Mario Maker just grabbed all my attention back and never let go. I think the nature of this stream might have turned out to be very different had that patch not come out at the exact time it did. Because back then I think I wasn't quite sure that this was going to be such a Maker-focused stream. I was doing viewer levels and such, but I didn't know long-term that that was going to be my main program here, and now it most definitely is. Okay. Up we go. Grab the POW. Nope, I missed the block because that launches probably spike balls to hit the on-off switch to release that gate, so that miss actually does matter. I'm pretty close here, though. I was just kind of off on that final drop in terms of understanding it, and also just remembering to throw the POW at the right time. Mr. Greggy Spike, welcome. Glad to see you back. Hope you're doing well. Okay, up we go. Not quite there yet, no. Okay, up we go. And let's see if we can manage this. It's feeling easier than I remember, actually, probably because I was probably quite tired or something when I played this the first time. But really, this feels totally manageable. It's just that I might have gotten stuck on some specific thing last time I was working on it. Like, I don't see why this would have taken me much time previously. I guess, you know, there's a lot of the initial reading that perhaps I'm taking for granted now. King Brock 5 hours later and only 1 level beaten. Well, I mean, well, that's an accurate description of some previous streams. This one's been going okay so far. This is the 2nd level that I've been working on. I did clear one that had taken me quite a long time on one of the previous streams. The boss rush that I was trying to first clear last week, though, where I had put in about 2 hours of time on it. Not quite 2 hours, like maybe an hour and a half on it, and I'd gotten to the very last boss in the boss rush, and I just could not close that out. I'm hoping to return to that one today, although first clear has been taken. There's exactly 1 clear on that now, and a clear rate of something like 0.14 or something down in that zone. So even though first clear is not available, I'm hoping to get to that later in the program today, assuming I can finish some of these other shorter ones first. But yeah, we got 1 down already fairly quickly. This one, I'm just 1 jump away. Because there are a lot of levels that come up in viewer levels sometimes where I'm telling myself, I really enjoy this and I would like to finish it when there aren't people waiting in queue. And I don't find enough time to actually do that, so it's nice to run a bit of a mop-up stream every now and then, just to make sure. Oh, didn't quite get over the one-way panel there. Up over the one-way panel, throw the POW against a muncher, land on a mole, and that is literally it. That's the end of the level right there. Okay. Lean way forward in this jump. Actually feels pretty intuitive now that I've done it a few times. Mimuga, the Bird Dog 6 puzzle where you were a little bit ahead of me with the flying POWs, I never figured that out. I haven't gone back to it because I haven't had any kind of insight yet as to what to do to become small to get into the lower right. I have finished some of the other puzzles I was stuck on recently, though. We got through a huge pile a few days ago on a previous stream. Yeah, King Brock, I don't know if my jumps here are particularly optimized for world record, but we'll see how close we get. Because I'm taking a lot of, you know, high full jumps all over the place here, and for world record you would need to probably shave some corners. Because I'm kind of giving myself a lot of room on certain jumps that somebody going for the world record time would not be doing. Oh, missed the spring that time, or at least was late on the spring such that the POW... Well, I mean, it was falling to the left, so I was a bit low on the spring throw, I think. And so POW didn't manage to get bounced into a position where I would be able to pick it up. Nope, still having a bit of trouble with that lip on the semi-solid. Mimuga, you're so mad that I don't see it. Yeah, as you were saying, you know, sometimes... It's sort of interesting that, as somebody who's also a puzzle player, that you seem to pick up on different things than I do. That you see certain things faster and other things not so much. That's, you know, even within fairly tight mechanical puzzles, it seems like there's kind of a variance in skill set, just in terms of people's vision for the mechanics. But yeah, Mimuga, it's probably something that will hit me as quite obvious when I finally do see it, I'm sure. Because I'm looking at that and thinking, okay, the structure's fairly clear, there are only so many pieces to play with, there are barely any interactions that are even possible on this level, then what is it that I'm possibly missing there? And you know the answer to that? I don't know the answer to that. Alabama boy, welcome. Glad to see you here. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Mamuga, I might even go ahead to some of the other puzzles by Bird Dog first, in case mechanically they reveal something that will give me a bit of insight. Because Bird Dog, you know, he's got some fantastic puzzles, but the puzzles tend to inform each other sometimes, where, like, solving one can kind of give you an idea for another because of a certain interaction that goes on. Like, the way that he would use objects on top of falling lifts, for instance. Note, need to hang back on the line so you can kick the shell forward. Okay, so we'll see. Alabama Boy, I've been looking for someone to play your Super World. So I do occasionally do. Let me just give you some information first of all. I do viewer levels at least twice a week, and I do take Super Worlds for that. I also occasionally use this time slot to feature some Super Worlds from beginning to end, depending on things like length and difficulty. So, yeah, you're welcome to drop the code into Discord as well if you don't know if you can make the viewer level time. But I do take Super Worlds, and I kind of run levels in batches if I can. Especially for stuff that's, say, easier traditional worlds where the levels are quick, I tend to do them in chunks. Yeah, still kind of getting a little low in that shell. Once I get the shell kicked to the right, I basically need to crank forward immediately, or I'll be too far to the left to make that bounce. So yeah, that final bounce is going to take a fair bit of correction. I think I don't quite have the timing right in terms of when I'm cranking forward. So yeah, today we're just doing a bit of a cleanup day, which I like to do every now and then, just to take care of some things I couldn't quite finish on viewer levels. Because there are quite a few levels that come up all the time where I say, wow, I'd really love to finish this, but, you know, we might be short on time, or there might be a very full queue or something like that, and I just have to get back to it later. But usually in this time slot we do some kind of Mario Maker feature, where I might be showcasing a particular maker or a world or a style or something like that, so. But yeah, we've definitely enjoyed a lot of Super Worlds here on stream lately, so you're very welcome to share. Okay. Here we go. Alright, just need to tidy up more and more of this. And very simple traditional design, yeah, that's great. That's fine, I find that, you know, the Super World format is much better at showcasing traditional design sometimes than just treating a lot of the levels individually. I'm sure that as a traditional maker, you've noticed that sometimes it can be difficult to get much airtime for that style. At least when you're seeing things played on stream, still a little bit late on that descent. And I can tell that it's late because either that or I need to pull back on that a bit. But I don't think I can pull back, because if I pull back, I don't get to complete the arc that comes over here. And of course, here I kind of need to think about my bounce height as I bounce off the mole and go kind of directly over. And look at this, this is potentially tricking you out as well, where if you're a little bit short on the final jump, you kind of hit that before you hit the axe. So you do need to crank pretty much all the way forward after the mole, I think, and that's something I'll have to keep in mind. Mamuga, the N used to stand for neutral. It was actually a username that I was using elsewhere for a while, and it was just kind of a pun on the sort of RPG alignment grid, a chaotic neutral. But gradually I just kind of dropped that out, partly because, you know, like, oddly enough, that name was kind of taken by some inactive accounts, or at least one inactive account by like some Street Fighter player or something from like a decade ago, and There were some other issues with it, like it's sometimes too long for things like Mario Maker, where you've got the 10-character limit. And so I just decided to drop it and truncate it down to the N, and that works for me. It's a little bit easier, I think, for people to work with. You'll occasionally see an imposter account that's goes by Natural. That is, of course, just Loopin' Snoop deciding to be a prankster who's kind of spends too much time on Twitch. Much to our benefit sometimes, like Loopin' Snoop just does produce some pretty interesting content, but occasionally he just likes to kick back and be a prankster. Kind of like the idea, Mang, of that being Nemesis. It's only nasal if I'm feeling a little bit sick and not coming through to mic clearly, though. I would hope so. I don't think I'm that snotty a person most of the time. But yeah, you can just think of it as Nintendo's Captain N, perhaps. Okay. Forward we go. Yeah, that's still an issue, this drop here. I mean, I'm dropping down a little too much before I'm cranking right, but I'm also not always able to react to how I do the shell kick. And so I'm always just ending up a little too low. Let's just practice this jump. Yeah, you can see here that with that jump there, I was actually landing here. This is going to be a bit of a tricky bounce, actually, because you need like a lot of forward momentum to come in at a low angle, so you can make that, but also make it over here. So I kind of think that even once I get the shell drop sorted out, that is a potential trap. There's no other reason that Semi-Solid would be there except to be a bit of a trap. Yeah, Alabama boy, thanks for that. I don't know if I'll get to it soon, but if you do come for the viewer level queue this weekend, we'll definitely get to it. I usually get through everybody who submits. Sometimes it's a bit of a long wait, but I do manage to get through everybody most of the time. Yeah, still having trouble with this one-way panel here. I am kind of backing up into that shell, though, because I keep thinking that I'm going to run into a bit soon. I think it's a little bit difficult for me to see how that shell hit is going to happen. There is a bit of foreshadowing from the early green Koopa shell kick that we're doing at the beginning of the level, with that same vertical track indicator, like this one here. So if I get an interaction that's as clean, I should be able to make it, but right now the arc is just all wrong. Okay. Nope, a little bit too far forward. So yeah, it feels like a fairly gentle level for the most part, but there are definitely some trouble spots to work out. So I'm beginning to see why this would be sort of sub 1%, even though most of the jumps don't feel that way. Most of the jumps feel much more manageable than that. Okay, up we go. And forward. Ooh, no, terrible arc there. I knew in advance that that was not going to make it. Sometimes you just kind of tell from your own momentum that things will not go well. Okay, going to land here, going to do that. And forward. No, a little bit late on that. I do need to get the throw there, otherwise the spring will fail to catch the big buzzy shell, which is the thing it's supposed to do. Yeah, nice crisp interaction. Whoops, too soon a throw. But if we can fall as cleanly into the Buzzy Shell at the end, the way that we did with the Green Shell over here, then I'm okay. It's just that it's a very long falling arc afterwards. But I'm not familiar enough with the point of contact on the vertical track marker that comes at the very end of the level. That seems like the major thing to clean up, though. That's currently sits between me and finishing to clear on this level. I mean, I feel like everything else is sorted out, even if it's not quite consistent. Okay. Forward we go. And that's going to be mostly good, except I just missed a POW. And then the POW gets carried all the way to the end, of course, for the final launcher hit. Okay, a lot of this early stuff is going to feel pretty good right now. Sometimes some jump adjustments to make, but... yeah, no, still a little bit short, still bumping into the top of the one-way panel. I thought that one was feeling fairly good because, yeah, you can see what's going on here with the coin that is to the top left of those vertical tracks, actually. The coin allows you to make sure you position yourself high enough such that you're going to get the shell drop to come fairly high as well. And I think that's going to be the idea, that if I can kind of get a consistent input here, that will give me all the information I needed to understand what's going on with the final shell kick in that very similar segment at the end. No, too early. Yeah, Muga, that jump certainly felt good. It's kind of surprised me that I couldn't quite clear the one-way panel at the bottom. I probably am still just falling a little bit late, but again, it's a difficult one to estimate. Okay. Not quite. Had to take a quick sip of tea there just to refuel a bit. But up we go. And okay. Not doing too badly. And up we go. Yeah, still not doing it. I feel like I'm still landing a little bit too far to the left on that shell, perhaps. I mean, I'm probably just landing late. But I don't feel like I'm getting a solid bounce off the center of the Buzzy Shell anyway. That I'm actually making contact with the shell a little bit low. In a way that, you know, with the green shell over there, you can see that I'm making contact with it kind of in a low position as well. After that deflection. It's just that the one-way panel at the very end makes that interaction much less forgiving. So you can see here with the green shell that I actually had lots of room for error. That it was going quite low that time and everything was still fine. That would definitely not make it over for the final jump. You do need a really crisp second kick. Okay. Up we go. That's to clear. Okay, good. Didn't hit the semi-solid at the end. But, so, yeah, once I got the shell kick on that vertical track, I knew that things would go well on that attempt, I think. Like, the position felt great that time, and I just sort of knew that I would coast from there. So that's 2 clears today. Red Knight, glad you could catch me today. I managed to get both of this and Grindalorian Escape, which was what I opened the stream with, so I'm glad you could actually come by and catch some of that, given that both of them were kind of unfinished business from earlier streams. And I know that some of your other ones are little bit more forgiving in terms of clear rate, so hope to get through some of that as we get into viewer levels this weekend, if you can make it as usual. Thank you once again for the GGs. Ah, you were just lurking for a bit. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad the level just kind of signaled everything itself. I know that last time I was wondering about some things like the vertical tracks and the right arrows, but this time around the momentum just seemed to kind of explain itself. And I think part of it was playing it immediately after playing the other one, that I was already thinking in terms of adjusting forward momentum and, you know, making some of the jumps cleaner for myself. And so playing them back to back, I think, was actually a very useful experience. So yeah, glad you could actually come by for that. Let's get into something else completely different. So after those two, which went better than expected, I'm going to look at something that did not go well at all when I tried it over the weekend. So this was something that I wanted to get the first clear on, and first clear is no longer available. Somebody did snatch it about 2 days ago, I think. But this is the boss rush by Merlin that I was opening and closing these Saturday to Sunday stream with, and I spent way too long on it. I spent about an hour and a half. I did get through all the way to the last Koopaling. I don't know if there's anything after the last Koopaling, but I did manage to get to the last one. I just couldn't figure out how to get more than one jump off of him, that's all. So anyway, congratulations to HJT and that spectacular 18-minute world record. I guess we will not be registering the first clear, but we can go for second. And I practiced this enough that I think if we figure out the last boss, we can do it. Yeah, like I said, I don't really know how many levels I'll even get through today, because it's sort of in the very nature of playing unfinished business, and I have no idea. Oh, yeah, this room here. Sometimes Roy just has a collision death, but can't always rely on that, so we'll just kind of get warmed up and get back into the pattern. And yeah, Momuga, I really like playing Koopaling boss fights. I played a lot more of these last year when the Koopalings first came out, because they seem to be all over the place, but in general, I like long boss rush levels. I mean, a lot of people are kind of canny enough to put at least one checkpoint in these. And there's one checkpoint in this level after 4 bosses. So you do 4 Koopalings and a checkpoint, and then the other 3, and then who knows if there's anything afterwards. But yeah, I really enjoy Koopaling fights when they are designed in arenas that make good use of their movesets. And I was very pleased with this one. I enjoyed this level a lot, even though I couldn't quite get through it. There is a bit of a cheesy clear in the second fight. Whoa, bad timing there. Okay, it's actually kind of nice for Roy to drop into the central segment, but he's going to be just a little off-center, and he's going to land on the ground rather than get pushed by the munchers. Stun lock is a big problem. If I don't get stun locked, I should be able to get him down cleanly. So yeah, Red Knight certainly looks like HJT, who got the first clear on this, decided to just sit with that 18-minute clear and not try to optimize further. Whoa. This fight was formerly pretty easy when I did it the last time. I think I'm just kind of getting warmed up in this level and getting back into the pattern here. But yeah, the first 4 I'm actually quite comfortable with. The third fight out of 4, which is Iggy, is the one that can get a little bit wild, but otherwise I am eager to get back to where it was in terms of progression. And we'll see how long it takes to do that. Nope. I have to remember to always high jump over the gaps. And yeah, Momuga, you were saying that you played one that had a dev exit. That's kind of too bad. I feel like a well-designed boss rush will do everything fair and square. I mean, if things are too long to clear check in one segment, then you can see why there is a dev exit. Like if you actually really struggle to finish everything within 500 seconds. And if the bosses are spectacular enough, yeah, you can kind of see that happening. where you have a really tight clear check time. Still, no reason to put in a dev exit, though. That's kind of unfortunate. I mean, I like long fights and I like long levels, but I still wouldn't want the developer to kind of get that advantage. So usually here we can just kind of get a crush clear on Larry. Whoops, I want to spin jump over him though. Yeah, but usually he's able to position himself in such a way that he'll just die by himself, but sometimes he just gets pushed off the edge instead, and it's not so great. But on the previous attempts I was somewhat consistently able to get to crush clear on Larry there, and that actually worked fairly well. I mean, you can't always control his pattern. There's going to be a certain amount of randomness to whether he bounces forward or backward, but it is not too difficult to bait him into dying to his own obstacles. And I don't mind that about that fight. Like, it is something that feels like a bit of cheese, but I think it's kind of part of the intended design. Often to kind of get him to position, you do need to have at least one hit on him to get him in shell form anyway. You also do get a mushroom at the beginning of every fight, so each of the Koopalings does give you a one-hit buffer to work with. Okay, just going to bop him. Let's see if we can survive the shell phase once more. He's just going to get trapped on that side. That's fine. Third bounce should just do it then. Actually going to hit him the standard way for once. Okay, now here's the fight I'm a bit worried about, which is Iggy. Iggy is really tough to deal with in this level. It's just that everything here exploits how weird his movement pattern actually is, with that back step and, you know, his jumping pattern as well. Very long shell ride in some ways, but if he ends up in the central position, then yeah, we can actually get him cleanly, which is great. Now, Lemmy here is a bit of an attention test, where it's hard for me to read what's going on when I'm mostly focused on surviving the jumps. But once the bomb opens up the location down low, I'm able to access the P-switch there. It's just that occasionally I have to glance over to see what my progress in the bomb is, otherwise I might actually hit the switch too many times without realizing, which is what happened the last time I played this. Okay. One more hit should do it here with the bomb. And then that allows me to go down, hit the P-switch, and then go through. So that's going to be checkpoint, and we're going to get a checkpoint without too much trouble. Which is good, because I only had to deal with Iggy once, and that's great. Because first half Iggy was actually the one I was by far the most worried about. Okay, Wendy is all about controlling center here and trying to minimize the number of shots that she has alive on the board. Center is a fairly safe position, but then I have to chase her to actually get the hit. And eventually the first projectile will despawn, but not yet. No, firebars, of course, or the burners rather, do confine me a bit when it comes to space, and so yeah, the sooner I hit Wendy, the better, because if she doesn't get her projectile off at all, this is actually much easier. But the general idea is to spin jump, you know, just to avoid any accidents, and to control center. If you do control center, she does consistently spawn, or rather get out of the shell form off to the side, but as long as I'm not too inaccurate about chasing her down, that isn't too much of a worry. I've been very inaccurate about chasing her down, but that's okay. Now, there is a burner that's over the key door, and that's something I have to be aware of if I'm ever small coming out of that fight. Okay, Ludwig is going to, as usual, just have a really high flight pattern. But just getting out of the way and letting him do a shell form down below is, as I discovered, probably the key. I don't want to do that, of course. But yeah, really glad how quickly the first half went. Much better than it did last time. But the last fight in this set is absolute murder. Like, Ludwig I can get through some of the time. Morton, who is going to be the last Koopaling, like, I can barely get a hit off of him. Because his room is wild. And just full of terrors. Nope. I mean, that was a fairly obvious trap. Shouldn't have walked right into it. Okay. So we'll pop her here and just kind of stay low and try to dodge the projectile, although it's going to remain alive throughout pretty much her entire first cycle. We need to prevent her from getting the second projectile off, because that's going to confine too much space. Okay. Fairly clean. Yeah, burner over the door is synchronized with the burners on the right side. Whoops. Oh, terrible start here. Absolutely dreadful start, in fact. Okay. Just going to escape here until everything gets out of the way. Really long shell pattern, though, and yeah, just need to dodge the next blade that comes over. Not accidentally spin wall jump or anything. Oh, oops, bad landing. Okay, so this isn't feeling too bad so far, but again, I really do need to get through these two as consistently as possible, because I just haven't been able to learn a good pattern on Morton for the third fight here yet. And the sooner I do that, the better. Whoops. Okay. So we'll tap her here. Whoops. Okay, that's fine. I mean, could be going better, but let's not think about that too much. Yeah, just need to wait for the burner there, and she was slow enough on getting a projectile off that actually felt fairly safe. If I can kind of get down low here without dropping off the side, then yeah, that's going to feel pretty clean. And then we just get out of the way while he does his shell pattern. The sooner I hit him, the safer it will be to get out of that. Whoa, thought I would make it. That was not the case. That was really unfortunate after having two fairly clean hits and actually still in big form there. With the super mushroom, whoops. Okay, two projectiles here. Yeah, that was a miss. That was not going to go. Okay, let's try this again. One projectile down from Wendy this time. Could be going a lot better. But we'll just control center. Same kind of positional strategy. And everything should look okay. She should be respawning in just a moment here. Great. Really clean. Nope. Bad bounce over here. Okay. That was a bit risky, but we managed to make it, so. We'll just get out of here and just kind of stay reasonably centered until he comes out of his shell. Yeah, that was not a great pattern. We need to let him down now. Totally got trapped there. Really well-designed room in a subtle way, in terms of having to control space when it comes to balancing the buzzer blade positions against Ludwig's flight pattern. So let's just have a fairly accurate hit on Wendy there. It's very rare that I'll get her to spawn in the center, but that's usually because I'm occupying it. Okay, good. Somewhat tidy. We'll wait for the burner this time, just to avoid any potential disasters. We'll get straight back into it. Nope. Yeah, I still make that mistake sometimes where I try to spin jump over to saw blades, but the green pipe positioning actually gets in the way quite a bit. Okay. Up we go. Okay, that was a pretty stylish landing on the pipe, and then we'll see if we can get hit number 3 in a decently safe position. Okay, that's going to be absolutely great. Now we get into the murder fight here. Yeah, as you can see, fire pattern is quite something to deal with here. Oh, I actually almost did get a second hit there. And so yeah, during Morton's shell phase, the priority should be to watch the fire, and just to stay alive and avoid taking hits if I can. Okay. Whoa, got bounced by the bumper that time. That doesn't happen too often unless I'm way off center. But it was the projectile, of course, that time that was throwing me off center, so I like that geometric synergy we have here between the bumpers and Wendy's circular projectile. Makes everything look very coherent in this yellow room. No, once again, same mistake. I keep thinking that'll land to the left, and then I keep hitting the pipe with my feet. Trying to do a bit of a twirl there, and every time I just land on a twirl, so that did not go well. But we'll see if we can clean that up, and see if anything can be done to make this go a little bit better. Okay. Bounce around quite a bit, and that's going to be the key. Let's wait for the burner. And forward. Okay, this time almost made the same mistake, but the important thing is I didn't. Okay, get up here, just get safely out of the way until all of the blades give me a bit of space, and oh, once again, terrible estimate there, trying to do the risky thing and get up to the platform right away. A lot of unnecessary deaths here on Ludwig, where I'm able to play it safe, but I'm just taking too many risks, and that is kind of biting me. Not really going that well.
Oh, no.
That's okay, we'll just go back and try to learn it some more. Whoops.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but if I can just consistently get through here... Oh, wow. Yeah, I usually try to just rush Wendy down right away so she doesn't get the first projectile, but I've been thrown off that pattern a little bit lately. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Maybe just a little too much hesitation going into the early part of the fight, but we'll see. It's not too difficult to get all of the hits on her. Fairly relaxed for the first fight in that segment. Okay, yeah, as long as I stay away from sliding against a pipe. My method there does work, it just requires a little bit of accuracy, and ooh, that was close. Yeah, that could have gone extremely badly. That's okay, third hit is going to come soon here. I just need to make it out alive. Okay, let's get in the door quickly and give Morton another go at it. So yeah, spin jump off the central position, avoiding the stun lock and avoiding hitting the platform prematurely. Fire all over the place. Okay, 2 hits.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was trying to clear my way over to fire that time. I didn't quite time it well enough, but 2 hits and staying alive a little bit longer. That's actually my best attempt on Morton so far, which perhaps doesn't say very much. So it's just a matter of getting into that room and rolling a good pattern and being able to manage to fire accurately and, you know, not crashing into any of the swamps from the side, which is a potential threat. Okay, let's not miss any jumps here. That could go quite badly. Oh, no. Already taking a hit on Ludwig. That's not great news. Yeah, so if I stay reasonably centered when I do the twirl, then I avoid the accidental spin wall jump problem that I was running into. That's something very important here. Okay. And just let the saw blades go and stay pretty calm into this pattern, and that's going to be the key. Pretty simple. So yeah, it's kind of too bad I didn't manage to get the first clear on this. It's, oh, whoops, no, I killed the key door. If you kill the key door, that is it. No possibility of continuing there. So I don't want to go high on the right side. It's really quite a trap to do so. And it's very tempting to do so because, you know, you're doing high bounces all over the place in that room just to be safe. Okay. Jump around some more, and, well... Okay, that was nearly a disaster, but we made it, so no complaints. Nope, didn't expect to get zapped there. That was a lot of work for not much gain. Okay, we'll just get around here until the blades decide to go away. Nope, once again, making the same mistake. I keep thinking I have the space, and I don't. Probably if I do full forward momentum, I could do it, but it's too risky. I don't know why I keep trying it. But yeah, the more I get back to Morton, the better I'll do, obviously, just given that I need more attempts to learn him and, you know, get some decent attempts in that avoid disasters. Okay, let's not get zapped here. Stay alive for as long as possible, and then after that, not fall in lava either. Okay, that did not go well. Let's be a bit careful here with hit number 2. Luckily, he's way off to the side, which is great positionally because it means I'll be safe up here for a little while longer. Okay, he should get a drop in just a moment here. And a drop is going to kill all the projectiles, which is great because that means we are back to Morton's room. Okay, hit number 1. Nope, not going to dodge the fire that time. And just, yeah, went straight into the swamp. Not great. It is a tough dodging pattern there, especially with a little bit of uncertainty about where Morton is going to go in the first bounce, whether it's going to be back or forward on this side. And there is that little bit of variance in movement with all the Koopalings when they decide which way to go. But that's okay, if we account for that, that should sort itself out before too long. So, Wendy's going to go down. And then we have a rematch again against Ludwig here. Going to get some gentle spacing, and... nope. Thought I had room, and I did not. Yeah, playing a little bit dangerously here. Luckily, that pattern is going to work pretty well. Not leaving him alive for too long there. I just have to wait for him to come down. Okay, great. Not the cleanest kill, but we're kind of getting out of trouble in that pattern a bit better. Yeah, so Morton goes forward this time. It's much better for me when he does go forward. But I can't necessarily rely on that for the first jump. If Morton goes backwards on the first jump, I sometimes have a little bit of difficulty reaching him before I get swatted by fire somewhere, so... Just gotta learn that pattern. Steadily, and... we should hopefully be back there soon enough. Whoa. Nearly disastrous, but not quite, so... I will take that room. Yeah, considering how consistent a lot of the patterns are, apart from a little bit of variation in Koopaling movement, there's a lot that can happen in these fights. It's a surprisingly dynamic layout in terms of the many possibilities that can ensue, like that one over there, which is not my proudest moment. Okay, back in. And Penguin Lord, welcome. Yeah, Penguin Lord having a bit of an unfinished business stream here. It's been going well so far. We got 2 clears earlier of levels by Red and I that I didn't manage to finish in fewer levels previously, but we got those down fairly quickly. So it's back to this boss rush that we were working on over the weekend, and I'm consistently, well, somewhat consistently, getting to the last fight. What seems like the last fight. Assuming that we don't have Junior or somebody show up at the end. But we'll see. So yeah, the challenge here currently is entirely in getting Morton's pattern sorted out. Everything else I can get most of the time, just, you know, if I keep some of the mistakes to a minimum. Okay, back and forth. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It is supposed to be just a Koopaling battle, but I don't know how true that is. And whether there are any surprises, because first checkpoint was coming after 4 fights. So either it's 4 and 3, or there will be some surprise. I don't know if there will be. I mean, Morton is already pretty hard. And feels like the final fight. For a couple of reasons. Okay, no, I do need to go fast. And actually, I just need to go back down and pick off Ludwig immediately at the end of his shell phase if I can. Whoops. That was just a bit careless. Okay. Alright, we'll just jump around a bit and...
Oh no!
Yeah, Yeah, that was a bit sloppy. I mean, usually when I let her get the first projectile out at all, things are not liable to go that well. Bit of an uphill climb, but we can sometimes make it. And if I make it, then yeah, as Super Mario, much more headroom to work with when you don't have this circle just kind of popping all over the place. What I don't want to do is miss any of the bounces on Wendy. Oh, getting in right before I got roasted by the burner. And you get a mushroom at the beginning of every fight anyway, so it's not a big deal, even if I do get roasted a bit, as long as I'm not small at the end of Wendy's segment. Nope. Mistake there, but if I stay low, I can bop Ludwig as soon as he comes out of the shell, which will spare me one projectile pattern. So yeah, if I just... nope, need to be much more careful with the spacing there. No need to lose to stuff like that. Okay. Nope. And Momuga, I think, well, obviously as the stream grows, there are certain purposes where I will need some moderation. But currently the spam is at least pretty consistently handled by the bot, the way I've got things set up, so I've got it fairly aggressively filtered. It seems to work out for me so far. And we'll see. I mean, obviously I stream at times that are a little bit difficult to expect people to make consistently anyway. But we'll pop in, and that was actually a surprisingly clean fight. Yeah, I think the stream in general just has a good culture to it here. I've had very few issues.
Oh no!
Yeah, this is... I'm sure that from a viewer's perspective, maybe it doesn't look too difficult to dodge, but from a player's perspective, you have to track so many things at once in Morton's fight, including Morton's own position, and there are a lot of things that can go wrong there. Okay, going to tap that. You see, Momuga, I think the kind of people who are unpleasant on Twitch just don't wind up on my channel, because I think the kind of tone and coverage of this channel just aren't likely to be very interesting to them. We kind of get away with that because, you know, in order to kind of enjoy my content in the first place, I think it does take a certain kind of personality that works out well for me. So this level, let me get you the code, actually. So this is Spicy Boss Rush by Merlin. The first clear was available back over the weekend, but somebody did finally get the first clear on an 18-minute time, as you can see, 19-minute time, a few days ago. So I will not be getting first clear anymore, but I worked on this one long enough that I do want to finish it. And I got to checkpoint pretty quickly this time. Surprisingly quickly, in fact. It's just that Morton's pattern is a massive pain. Whoops. And I just haven't had that many clean attempts at him yet. You know, I don't know the fight well enough from a pattern reading perspective to deal with all the fire and understand whether there are any particularly safe locations I can go for. I think you just kind of need to play reactively with Morton, though, because his positioning is also going to have a bit of variation to it, and because of that, that's going to cascade into a number of factors, like Morton's fire pattern, for instance, is going to depend partly on his positioning, and my own bounces are going to vary quite a bit. So let's get to the lower level as much as I can. Just dodge, dodge, dodge. Nope.
Oh, no.
Trying to twirl out of that position there, but that was just an inaccurate landing. It's not even a difficult segment to play safely, but you need to be very quick, otherwise Ludwig's projectiles just zone you out everywhere. But the thing about all these Koopaling fights is that the sooner you kind of contain them and prevent them from spawning projectiles, the easier time you'll have, so there's a pretty strong incentive to attack them aggressively. And in doing so, just create a bit more safety for yourself before things get out of hand. But if you just have one miss early on, or they're having a pattern where they're not very approachable, that is sometimes enough to turn a run very sour. So I do need to get back down to just snipe Ludwig before projectiles get in the way. Yeah, once again, the same kind of spin jump mistake when I try to twirl too close to the wall. He's got a very long shell pattern. Many of the Koopalings do, of course. Anyway, Ludwig goes down, and then we get back to Morton's fight. And let's see if we can do it this time. Okay, yeah, got zoned by fire once again. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I have to choose between, you know, do I try to go over to fire or do I try to pull back against Morton? And that time, trying to go left to right was not going to land anywhere safe. Like, everything was just dangerous. And so, just attempting to move back over to Morton's side to begin with was a big mistake. So yeah, I've gotten 2 hits on Morton a couple times. I've not even gotten close to third hit, because there's just so much incoming damage. I've not been able to dodge the fire cleanly at all. I just don't know the pattern yet. Don't quite have the accuracy. The way that I've at least chosen some decent positions for Ludwig. I mean, Ludwig's not going perfectly either, but I feel like I have a strategy, which is not the case for Morton's fight. Whoa, did not expect to fall off. Okay. Yeah, trying to snipe her early before
Oh, no.
projectile comes out. I did manage to get that consistently on my previous series of attempts. I don't know why I'm having a fair bit more trouble doing it this time, but yeah, you see, you snipe her quickly, you don't deal with your ring at all. There's just enough time for you to do that. There's a lot of stuff about the tuning of the fights in this level that I admire quite a bit. Like, some of them feel like they're kind of perfectly spaced to feel smooth if you get a good first hit in. Like, the slopes have just enough room here to get you a good solid first hit on Wendy if you're quick. But it's a very tight timing, and so, like, to me, I feel like it was something that was probably pretty carefully designed. I know, once again, yeah, these green pipes really do get in the way when I want to do a twirl for adjustment purposes. Okay, going to get a quick key here, which is good. Let's not die. And let's get back into Morton's room, which, well, we'll see if Morton goes backwards or forward. He goes backwards, which is a big problem often. Nope, killed the key door. That's going to be the end of that.
Oh.
Looks like once Morton is down, unless I go directly up from Morton to the flimsy platform under the key door, that I do need to get a spin jump off the central thwop to get up to that height. Otherwise, it's going to be quite difficult, I think, to get up to the door. And you have to get up to the door fairly accurately because of the way that it's centered on that platform. It would be very easy to accidentally lower the platform before you go through the key door if you don't have a good solid landing there, and so even defeating Morton is not the end of the story there. We do have to take care of the key door as well. Mimuga, I've never gotten past Morton. The best I've done against Morton is 2 hits. So I've not even seen the key there yet. It's just that occasionally I also accidentally kill the platform. Okay. Okay, dodging here is going to go surprisingly well this time, given that I didn't like my positioning here at all. Yeah, I want to stay low because I don't want Ludwig to go into the flight pattern. If he gets into the flight pattern, I get into big, big trouble. Okay, one of the cleanest fights I've had against Ludwig, in fact. Morton is going to do the back bounce. He's going to go quite a ways back, in fact. And he's going to get stuck all the way up there, which... Yeah, you can see Morton's movement pattern just leads me into traps, where if he's all the way back there, I just get swamped by fire. Okay, once again, a little too slow on Wendy. It is possible to bop her quickly, but I'm not quite managing to do it, so... nope. But I do try for it every time, because it does make things easier for her, and she's easy enough a fight that I actually think that, you know, taking that risk is consistently worthwhile. Because I can still play carefully coming out of that. It's just, oh, whoops, total miss there with the bumper. Yeah, I would have liked that to go a lot better, but third hit here is going to come pretty easily, but oh, wow. Yeah, no, I pulled back because I remembered the burner over the key door at the last minute, and that was not a smart pullback to do, yeah. So when I come out of the key door, when I come out of the main door, rather, coming into this room, I need to do some short hops so I don't get slowed down by going up against the slopes. Like, if I do short hops here, then I get to her right away, and that gives me plenty of space. It's when I'm kind of dragged against the slopes that I get into some issues there in terms of ramming into her, so the cleaner I can get this fight, the better. Oh, whoops. Oh, I actually got her. I thought I'd actually picked the wrong cycle for her revival from the shell. Whoops. Okay. Decently clean. I do need to get back down to hit him immediately. Get into the next pattern. Okay, good. Let's try to get out of here safely. Back to Morton we go. Okay, Morton's going to go forward, which is fantastic. I kind of need to draw that sometimes, RNG-wise, in order to have a good, clean hit against him. Clean hit number 2. Whoa. Not liking that. Okay, need to go around the fire. And you see, yeah, that's the issue there, is I still need to make it up to the key door, and that's the first time I've gotten the key off of Morton. It felt like a very good attempt, but it's not over when he goes down, not by a long shot. There's a lot of positioning that needs to happen in order to get out of that room safely. And very high risk of just ramming into swamps along the walls. No, let's not start over. Let's not instinctively do that this far into the level after having such a clean run up to the checkpoint. Okay. That's going to go fine. But yeah, very fortunate that time to have Morton do the forward step as his first move. There is going to be a bit of randomness in terms of whether Morton goes front or back on the first step, and I don't have a good pattern worked out yet for when he chooses to go backwards, because it makes a big difference in that fight. Okay, this is looking fairly clean, given the circumstances. Okay, very clean fight on Ludwig this time. Very happy with that. Now we go. Is he going to go forward? No, he's going to go back step, which... Yeah, just need to get into position and get out of the way of the fire if I can. Nope, trying to do a consistent series of shell bounces over him is really quite dangerous given his pattern. Not really guessing his momentum accurately enough to really do that cleanly. Yeah, I mean, I'm surviving longer and longer on those fights, at least in terms of just spacing myself over to fire. So there are some slight signs of improvement, but it's going to take a little bit of work just to close that up properly. Okay. First pattern is, as usual, going to be stay up and then go down. So yeah, have a nice, clean approach to Ludwig worked out now. But once these guys come off, I get just a second pattern here. Whoops, not quite clean that time, but I think we get a general idea. The thing is, if I get Ludwig down quickly, then I'm able to get the next hit against him without worrying too much about the saw blades on the lower level. Because then we just don't deal with his projectiles at all. Morton is going to go up to the front, but unfortunately I will take a very quick early hit. And yeah, when a fire is going to the left like that, I think I need to kind of follow the fire pattern and then dodge around them on the lower level. When the fire is at its peak, that is when I get into all kinds of trouble from playing reactively. So, let's see if we can clean that up somehow. Nope. Okay, that nearly ended in disaster, but that's going to be accurate, and we will be able to go through the door this time. Same pattern as always, going to be up and then down. And that works really well. I'm really glad I found that as a bit of a point of consistency, just to lead Ludwig's projectiles out of the way so they're not congesting his landing location. Nice of him to stop right by the pipe this time, making it easy for me to get back upstairs. Synchronization with the saw blade pattern is going to be a little bit different this time, but we will get him quickly and cleanly. And that's going to be back to Morton's room for yet another attempt. Penguin Lord, you're going to attempt to get world record. Have you gotten the clear already? Because world record, 19 minutes, that seems like it's something you can condense. And of course, Penguin Lord, I know you're a bit of a boss rush person yourself, so hope you have a good time with this one. I do think it's a very good level. I mean, I like a lot of boss rush levels in general. I feel like the arenas in this one have really made good use of the Koopaling movement patterns. Morton's room is a little bit wild. I think the fire is a huge difficulty spike relative to the rest of the level, but, he's the last boss of the set. I guess that kind of makes sense. Okay, going left, going right. Going to let Ludwig drop. And then let all the saw blades get out of the way, and we'll go back down for the next awakening. Okay. Going to be pretty clean down here. Just need to dodge and dodge and dodge until it comes back out to play. Very nice of the projectiles to all get out of the way at once when Ludwig does that. And of course, if we can take a hit at the end, it doesn't really matter if I take a hit at the door. Okay, actually surprisingly safe that time. I did not expect to last that long. Okay. Second hit here. Let's get out of the way of the fire.
Oh,
Not quite.
no.
Thought my timing would be fine that time, but... Yeah, Penguin Lord. I've definitely gotten some of the really quick clears on Larry's fight before, just from the crush death from him having perfect RNG, as you were saying, but... I mean, the world record is not going to be tight anyway. This is a hard enough level that you don't really need to optimize. Like, even just clearing it without checkpoint is enough to get your world record now. I think the presence of the Larry RNG is unlikely to cause you problems with holding that record unless somebody really pushes it. Given how many things can happen in the later fights. Clear check time on this, I think, is something like 3 minutes. And that's unlikely to be optimal in Larry either. Obviously, there's quite a lot here where I'm playing almost excessively safe. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh, no, not quite. And yeah, there's a very quick crush and death on Roy as well, but that's also RNG dependent. I would not count on that. But here we go. Okay, actually, going down and ducking right away is also a workable strategy. It's just that you have a bunch of projectiles that get led down here, which is not great. Yeah, spacing there that time was not the cleanest. Got a little bit trapped on a lower level. It's much better to play up high until such time as we have a clear floor to play with. Oh, that's a mistake that time. I should have gone down. That's okay. As soon as Ludwig decides to come downstairs, we will be fine. Okay, let's not run into the wall there with blades potentially coming down. Morton is going to give me a front step. Oh, whoops. Squandered that very quickly. Okay, 2 hits on Morton. Some very difficult dodges here. And going to lose once again after getting the key, which I was a little bit eager to get back into the central position to get a high bounce, and that was, well, at least the second time that we've gotten the key off Morton. It's just that there's so much damage there. Very hard to play cleanly. And that was under the best of circumstances, where Morton was giving me the front step. Yeah, because if he steps forward at the start, it's actually really easy to get first hit. If he steps backwards, first hit is already going to be very high risk. Okay, I like this pattern. It feels good. We'll keep it. Okay, didn't actually expect to get up there that time, so... making a few too many adjustments, just for safety's sake, but... yeah, I want to stay low, just so we don't have to deal with a projectile phase at all. Nope, missed a jump there. I was hoping to get a secondary jump. We will wait for these blades to pass us by. Just barely slip my way up on top of that pipe, and here we go. Morton will step back. Okay. No, I was about to say clean so far, but that did not last.
Oh no!
Once again, with all of the Koopalings, I do find that I consistently underestimate how long they spend in shell form. It's always a little longer than I expect.
Oh no!
With some of them, it seems to be more of a problem than others. Although I think maybe that's just a subjective error of judgment on my part. That all of them just have long shell phases without my necessarily thinking about it. Yeah, often it feels like Roy, for instance, takes a long time to get in position. Iggy as well. Yeah, Morton, I mean, you know, he's big and he gives me a pretty large target to hit, but even so, the movement on the shell isn't something I should be trusting too much. In terms of when he's going to swing back and forth. Okay, doing okay on Ludwig so far. Okay, very clean fight on Ludwig actually. Almost no risk there. Whoa, except at the very end. And back in position for Morton. Okay. That was actually a good series of positions for... Oh, getting trapped once again. He takes forever to come out.
Oh no!
I was really hoping he would revive much sooner, and he was just staying in the shell so long I got trapped by fire. I really should prioritize getting out of there if he's taking so long. Like, dodging fire is more important than trying to play close quarters with Morton. I can always go back and jump on him later. Oddly enough, stun lock is not going to be too much of an issue with Morton there, since I'm constantly spin jumping all over the level. Yeah. In we go. And Ludwig's gonna come down. Good. First hit. We'll let everything come down, and then here's some space. Second hit. Nope. Bit inaccurate there. Hedging against that pipe so I don't get caught by the accidental wall jump. Okay. Very nice of Ludwig to be just tall enough to give my feet a little bit of room above the buzzer blade. Morton's going to go backwards and then forwards. Oh, no, I'm going to accidentally lower that. That's going to be death.
Oh no!
I wasn't expecting to bounce him in that position. That was a problem. Okay. Bounce her here. Oh. And we'll see how the rest of this goes. Yeah, just going to get the key off of Wendy pretty quickly. Ludwig's pattern, very consistent because of the way his horizontal movement is constrained. Yeah, I should really count his shell phase a little bit more, but I just don't have good estimates, that kind of thing. Okay, very clean. I don't really need to dodge this, but... or fail to dodge it, I should say. Morton's going to go forward. Great. And then we'll just stay to the left here. Nope, I thought it was going to be that timing, and that was not correct.
Oh no!
Yeah, you really do need to commit to one side or another. You can't make minor adjustments like that, or you just get caught. It's a really long trail in those Podoboos. Like, it's actually the small Podoboos that are trailing the big one that give me the most trouble, because of the way they just barely come up over the lip of the central thwomp. Gets me into a lot of trouble. Okay, over here. And through. Okay. Yeah, not my usual pattern. That was not so great, but we're going to get him for the next flight. It is totally off my usual timing, though, so not quite comfortable here with how things have worked out. Okay, that was a bit of a close call, but close call is still a clear, so I will take it. Morton's going to step ahead. Great. Okay. Nope. Going to get crowded out of here. Second hit. Let's just dodge fire. Prioritize dodging fire at all costs. Probably need 2 cycles over the fire. And I'm going to miss the door. Okay.
Oh.
Ended up on the right side of the platform. Going a bit too quickly there, if I... Yeah, that's going to be, I think, 3 attempts with the key off Morton now, and where I've been unable to get up to the door. It'll be a pretty difficult fight just by itself, in fact. Yeah, Wendy's going to get me into a bit of trouble. Too many projectiles on the field. Okay, good. Nice, clean first hit. For once. Haven't seen enough of those lately. And, okay, let's let Wendy come back and forth, and... Alright, pretty clean. Let's get out of here. Wait for the next burner, because things are getting a little bit wild. And then down we go. Okay, he's going to roll around a little bit more. We'll just let him do that. Whoops, that could have gone rather badly. A bit untidy, but if we can get a good wake-up timing from him here, that's going to be the key. Now let's see where Morton's going to bounce this time. Forward, great. Nope, trying to get out of there at a bad cycle. Yeah, once again, totally misreading when it is safe to go over. Really need to watch Morton less and watch the fire more. But even so, it can be difficult to plan around where to go. You can't trust exactly where the bounces are going to happen. Okay, good that I got her before she fired anything at me. That bumper to burner spacing is actually kind of nice in this level. It doesn't look like that much of a threat, and then you run into it and the bumper just sends you straight up. Okay. Once again, good clean hit. Control center. Yeah. Really kind of bad burner pattern when she starts out on the left side instead of the right. Okay. Let's wait for the next burner here just to be extra careful. And let's be attentive to the intended pattern on Ludwig's fight here. Okay. Back and forth. Two hits, great. Doing well so far. Need a good dodging pattern here and everything will be fine. Very clean fight. Okay, will Morton go backwards? Yeah, backwards. Okay. We do at least have a bit of a game plan for his backwards motion now. Okay, just need to get a bit of room here. Just need to dodge. He is going to stay on the right side pretty consistently, so let's be careful.
Oh, no.
Nope, not enough of a bounce. I was trying to get all the way over and onto the swamp, and the spacing just did not work out. I had all the time in the world to plan that too, and I just did not go. Yeah, I just didn't have a good arc mapped out for to get up there after grabbing a key. That felt like one of my best attempts so far, though, in terms of having a comparatively clean run against Morton himself, so... Iggy and Morton are your run killers? Yeah, not surprising. Iggy, I find, really varies a lot depending on whether he is going to spawn in the middle or on the sides. Morton in general, as you can see, I'm just having tons of trouble with. Iggy, I was really pleased to get on the first attempt this sitting because I had so much trouble with him the last time I played this level, which was last weekend when it launched. Wow, huge miss there on the third hit on Ludwig. And, okay, well, let's see if we can do anything here. No. Okay, Wendy is going to take that first hit pretty quickly, which is good. Okay, that could have gone badly depending on the bumper overlap. A little bit slow on the uptake there as we try to get around her next pattern. Very nice of her to get all the way down to the bottom where I'll have lots of headroom. Okay, let's go down quickly with Ludwig this time, just to get our usual pattern going. Yeah, everything's going to clear out, and then everything's fine up here. Usually, yeah, it's going to wait until the next set of blades comes down. That's a fairly consistent timing by now, even if the spacing is going to vary quite a bit. Morton goes backwards. Nope, not quite. Not quite. Okay. Nope, thought I could dodge that, and the fire lasted quite a bit longer that time, given that Morton's stomp was pretty close to the left side of his zone. Really good spacing control on Morton on that fight, actually, just keeping him trapped on the right side. I've never seen him go left, and so I think that is by design, that he's not going to get over the swamp wall in the middle. Which is also going to be my ticket up to the key door, if I can ever make it up to the key door, which is still very questionable, given how quickly the platform's going to drop down on me. Alright, let's wait and play this safely. Same deal as always over here. Nope. Too much momentum going into the left side that time. I was hoping for something a bit safer. That's okay, we'll just wait this out somewhat. Don't want to wait it out on top though, because I don't want to miss the chance to hit if it's going to go that quickly. Okay, there we go. Morton will go backwards. Nope, going to get hit. And okay.
Oh no!
Really tough spacing all over the place there. Yeah, I feel like even one Podoboo chain there on that fight would have been quite a lot to deal with already, but two of them really does restrict the amount of space that you can work with. Okay. Quite a lot of symmetry going on all over these layouts, of course. Wall jumps are the life and death of your run, yeah. Definitely died to some accidental ones here and there. I definitely recovered from some unsafe positions with wall jumps as well, though, so. There is a lot they can do for you, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But yeah, Penguin Lord, hope you're having fun with it. I mean, like I said, it did seem like the kind of level that would be to your liking as a boss rush person. And I'm having a great time with it, or I wouldn't be spending so long trying to master the whole thing. But yeah, so many close calls at Morton at this point. The fact that I can get up to Morton's key at least is a sign of progress. Didn't mean to get bumped there. I feel like the clear will happen. It's just that I don't have that clean attempt yet. Whereas last time I played this, Morton's room just felt like utter chaos. Like I was not in control whatsoever. I had no idea what I was doing. This time it feels quite a lot better. It feels like, while I don't have the cleanest pattern on it yet, that the possibility of a pattern is at least scrittable now. That I can kind of see what I'm trying to do there, even if the execution is a little too inaccurate to make it out safely. Like, I know what my plan is to get around the fire, whereas previously I was just kind of playing reactively. But yeah, I'm making some poor estimates sometimes, of course, on the spacing and figuring out when it's going to be safe. Okay, this is going to be actually a very consistent looking pattern that time. Very nice of Ludwig to be that reliable. Morton is going to give me the front step right away, but then I'm just going to lose that advantage almost instantly. Okay, let's play it safe. Hang out on the left side. That's the door. Okay. Oh. See, that's, yeah, just a bit of a troll thing, but do we now have to deal with Junior? No, we don't. It's just one-ups. Let's scan around and see what this is all about. Wow, fire coming out of below. Let's get out of here. Not dealing with Bowser Jr. and Boom trying to snipe me when I'm going for the 3 one-ups for Endless. So anyway, that's a clear. About an hour. Not counting the time that was spent initially pre-checkpoint, but of course today that was rather short, so. Okay, 3 clears down. Thank you for the GGs. Let's, so yeah, I've got second clear on that. Penguin Lord, if you're still working on it, have a good time and good luck. I did not leave any kind of clear comment. Too bad. I'm not going to go back for that. Multiplayer versus matches played, 1. Well, good luck, people in multiplayer versus. I mean, it's playable. It would just be a little bit wild, I think. Okay, let's pull up another code. Just give me 1 moment here while I pull something else up to work on. I might not finish everything today at this stage, but I'm glad I'm making some progress. Okay, we're going to pull up something that I haven't seen in a long time, and not even in the same form. So I don't actually have a play registered on this right now, but I'll tell you this story when I pull it up. And hey, Terminator. Hope you're doing well. We've had a pretty good day so far. I got 3 clears out of the way that I previously couldn't close out on stream. So there's a bit of a story behind this level. As you'll notice, I don't have a play on it, and it is from May 2020. It's actually a revised version of a level that was formerly on Poison rather than Lava, and which was actually one of the first levels that was ever sent to me on my very first viewer level stream back in January 2020. This was before Beachin was a streamer, and so I had no idea who he was. He had no idea who I was. He just sent me a shell level, and at that point, I had like no idea how to play shells. I'd barely done any Kaizo ever. So I've always wanted to go back to this and see if I'm a more capable player now, and if I can actually make that back shot in the early screen. But the idea is that the lava is going to come up, and I have to shell jump accurately enough to get over it, apparently. But last time I saw this level, you know, over a year ago, in its original form, I didn't really even make it past the first jump. So it's basically a new level to me, but I want to do it, so. How bad can 0.7 be? We'll see. I mean, back shots are not my specialty. Okay, you drop on that guy. Jump like that. Okay, if I'm a little bit faster, then I make it through to cheap. Nope, need a bit of a better release there, but you can see that if I drop down onto the shell right away, then the pickup can happen pretty quickly. But the cheap really comes out quickly, though, so I've got to find out what my pattern will be for it. Nope. I noticed that the backshot is actually working pretty well quickly, though. That I'm getting at a decent percentage of the time, it seems, that, or maybe not. As usual, though, with backshots, I wonder if it's actually necessary. It might be for the spacing to work and the momentum, but I'm not quite clear on that, given that sometimes when I see backshots, I'll just do a forward shell jump anyway, just for simplicity. Okay, got stuck on the wall. Look at the death count at the very beginning of the level. And it's not even in a single spot too, but all over the place. Oh, the Cheep really has a huge flight pattern. So the Cheep totally blocks that off unless I go much faster. So I'm still going too slow. Because as soon as you spawn into Cheep, you have to beat it to the 10 coin. Terminator, how do I feel about Resident Evil Village? I've not played it. I've seen some streamers I know play bits of it, and they seem to have a good time. I find that... so I haven't played Resident Evil since 4, and I don't do very well with first-person shooters, and so the fact that Resident Evil 7 and 8 are in first-person kind of make me much less likely to play them. I'm kind of okay watching streamers instead. So yeah, it's something I'm not really likely to play anytime soon, but it's not because of the game, it's just because as someone who doesn't do first-person or horror games very well, oh yeah, also, I know that the thing about Resident Evil 7 and 8 is that apparently the player character keeps getting his hands chopped off and regrown or reattached or something. That's something that is a little bit of a squeamish point for me. Like, I don't tend to be too bad about gore, but I think hand injuries like that in particular is kind of are a bit difficult for me, so... Yeah, so you go under and then you can spin jump over to Pokey. I don't know if I can jump over to Pokey normally first, because I think... Yeah, spin jump directly to the Pokey seems like it's going to be a bit low, so... That seems like a little bit slow, though. I think maybe a spin jump directly might be able to make it, but... we'll figure that out as we go. Going under the Cheep does seem correct, though. Yeah, I think a spin jump will make it as long as I'm early. Hey, Petit Raptor, not running the queue today. I'm actually finishing out levels that I had seen a long time ago. But I do run viewer levels in the same time block tomorrow and the day after, so if you want to come back for that, I will be running the queue. And we usually do a pretty decent job of clearing everybody in the queue, so... if you get in nice and early, you will definitely get played. But anyway, thanks for sharing the code. Hopefully some other people here will pick that up and give that a shot. Yeah, today I'm not going to be running terribly long. I'm just doing a handful of harder levels on my own. And... okay, if I can get that a little bit more consistent, I should be able to make it. Yeah, it seems like ducking under Cheep is actually the right thing to do. I don't think I can beat the Cheep. But I need to not run into the top corner, because that cuts too much momentum. So yeah, Terminator, have you had a chance to play Resident Evil Village? And if you have, hope that's been going well. But yeah, I know some people have been telling me that they've had a great time with it, so... if it seems like your thing, then... maybe that's worth looking into. I have not really been up on new releases much at all this year. Apart from Bowser's Fury, of course. I was thinking about picking up the new Subnautica Below Zero, because I'm a pretty big fan of the original Subnautica. Yeah, I just continue riding the Thwomp until the Spike Ball. The Thwomp is going to hit the yellow block. I'm not supposed to go down there. You like the big woman, and you cannot lie. Whoops. Yeah, the giant vampire lady. I'm kind of vaguely aware of that. Whoops, no. Spin jump directly to the Pokey is correct. Yeah, I don't actually know much, Terminator, about the whole Umbrella Corporation lore behind Resident Evil / Biohazard. But again, like I said, I haven't played since 4. So... I've been a long time away from the series, and not really an expert on any of it. But yeah, I need to fall on top of the Buzzy directly, first of all. But yeah, I do know that 7 and 8 are kind of their own storyline with a new character, so... Had you played 7 previously, though? Because I'm told that while 8 stands independently, that it's kind of meant to be a direct continuation of the plot and characters in 7, so... Okay, a little bit early on that. Once the thwomp stops, it's actually going to get me a decent location there. The time is not as strict as I thought it would be here. Bone shell. I need to get a little bit higher on top of that because, yeah, I won't have an opportunity to spin jump anywhere, I think, so I do need to just go all the way up with the bone shell. No, that's going to be a duck with the bone shell and use the invincibility in both places. I need to revive from the invincibility once the lava level goes down past the saw blades, so... Last one you played and beat was part 2. Part 2 as in, like, Revelations 2, or... Oh no, Resident Evil 2, I see, okay. Would that have been the Resident Evil 2 remake or the original? Because I know some people were really swearing by the remake of 2, and don't really know what people made of the remake of 3, which I seem to hear comparatively less about, but I don't need to get up there. And yeah, this is how you get locked up if you miss. Interesting, we can kind of see the mechanism over here, though. That, yeah, the lava's going to go all the way down on the other side once I make it through the saw blade, and then there's going to be a throw, possibly a shell kick, that will take the shell over to the on-off switch by having a back deflection. So we have that to look forward to when we get to the other side. So yeah, other than the backshot at the beginning, this has actually been a fairly calm experience. Just the spacing can be a little bit fidgety sometimes, but I was spending a little too long on that. Oh wait, no, that's not going to be it. Why did I think that the bone shell would be able to do that? No, I think that's supposed to be it. I just missed for some reason. Okay, through we go. Nope, not quite. So yeah, we'll have to see how we read that pattern once we get to the other side. Well, it really shows how far I've come that I've actually gotten to see some of this layout. Finally. But yeah, it's kind of interesting on my part. I don't recommend you folks do it, but it's interesting on my part too. Go back to some of my earliest streams and just see how much has changed in terms of both the style and quality of levels I've received, as well as the commentary. And of course, just my ability to play the stuff. That's been the biggest change. But you know, when you take up streaming this game for the first time, something is going to be your first Kaizo submission, your first precision submission, your first troll level. Like, there's always going to be a bit of a learning curve. Even if you think you're familiar with that stuff, like playing it on stream is something that you have to experience for the first time. I think I get it now. That's... yeah, you need lava to still be active in order for the bounce off the side springs to happen, and then I probably need to wait to have a safe landing location on the right side after the bone deflection on the left. So the timing there is actually pretty gentle. Especially compared to a lot of what Beachin makes nowadays. Like, he's a much more advanced shell maker in some ways. And very advanced shell player, too. So. This is, okay. I was about to say this level is a bit of a throwback, but that was when I died to the back throw, so I guess that's thematically appropriate. Whoops. But yeah, actually getting the back shot a reasonable amount of time in order to proceed. Not 100%, of course, but you know, we'll gradually sort it out. Yeah, it's shorter jumps there on a P-switch. Okay, good. Now, what do I jump on? No, it needs to go a bit lower. The arrow is pointing at my target. I'll aim for that, but I do need to wait a bit longer to see what that target is going to be. I haven't actually seen what that's about just yet. Once you understand a duck under the first Cheep Cheep, that's actually very satisfying to pull off, timing-wise. Okay. So yeah, I actually have plenty of time to kick back here, depending on... whoops, I just totally slipped off. Didn't mean to do that. But yeah, this doesn't seem too bad, to be honest. Like, I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking, depending on what kind of surprises are near the end, it looks clearable to me now. Yeah, just need to minimize the time spent in the early section here. Up we go. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to spend that much time on a ground pound, but once again, the lava level here is somewhat generous. It totally feels... Oh, I see. Spike ball, okay. No wonder it feels so blind. Like, you need the spike ball to come down before anything happens. I mean, I certainly think that it's going to be a bone shell to the left. I can't imagine that it's anything else, so I don't think I'm misreading that. It would be interesting to try to continue with the bone shell to the right side, but no, you can't, because you do need to disable the on-off gate before you proceed. And so, I think the thing I'm doing is correct. It's just that I need to have a spike ball spawn, or I won't have a drop location available. Whoops. Yeah, that's okay. We'll just try to get that sorted out. Okay, here we go. Nope. Let's try to beat the Cheep. Didn't have too much trouble with that previously. I don't know why we're running into that now. Okay. And we tap, tap, tap there. Third tap I go up, I beat the Cheep. Okay. What did I say about the third tap? Whatever. We made it. That's the important thing. Okay. Okay, spike ball needs to come down. And, oh wow, that's a tight timing. So yeah, spike ball timing is going to take a little bit of working out, I think. Fourth bounce gets me over to Cheep. Nope, lost it. But I can't, no, I can't cheese it because you do need a shell at the bottom, and that's the way that this level does a shell check to make sure that you've actually successfully escorted it through all the way. And that if you don't do that, first of all, you're likely to fall into the lava. You're not going to have that many invincibility frames to work with. Secondly, you don't have a tool available for the on-off activation at the end of that sequence. So, nope. And it's okay, we'll just sort that out. You can see that there's just a huge scattering of deaths in the early section here, probably from people trying to go too slowly and not realizing that this is going to be a rising lava trap. Okay. Through we go. No, my mistake. Timing's not going to work this time, so... Or is it? Nope, too late. So yeah, being able to catch the spike ball, I think, is going to require me to time my jump according to when it's coming out of the pipe. Nope. Staying with one. And we'll see how that goes. Okay. Going to make it through here. Let's not miss. Bouncing a bit on a donut blocks is okay. It's not too much of a problem. Spike ball comes out, and we go immediately. Great. Catch that. Now what? The shell slides to the right, it bounces off the wall and onto the spring, and then I bounce on top of the shell, I think? I don't know. Yeah, I jump, like I spit the shell, I jump off Yoshi, and then the shell should have a back deflection that gives me a place to land on, right? That's how I'm understanding that, but I'm not actually entirely sure. I will need to reread that, given that I was seeing that for the first time. Okay. Well, totally overshot the bone shell that time. That was unexpected. Alright, up we go. And back up. Okay, go immediately when I see spike ball like that. Yeah, that's exactly how to do it. You bounce up, and then after that is going to be a series of spin jumps over pokies. And then, okay, let's do that. And Electrodude, welcome. So yeah, Electrodude, I've gotten a decent series of clears so far in today's stream. That's going to be a little early. So yeah, this one is actually a revision of one of the first levels that I was ever sent on my very first viewer level stream. And it's by Beachin, and it was from before Beachin was a streamer, so... He was one of the first people who ever showed up onto my stream, and he sent me a level that started with a backshot. And if you think back to how I was playing a year ago, and you see a backshot at the start of the level, well, I think you can imagine how that went. So I'm kind of seeing this for the first time, although of course it is something that was revised from the original version that I was shown. So it was originally a Poison Forest level, now it is a lava level, but the opening is the same. I can't speak for the rest of it because I only ever saw the opening. Okay. Down here. Nope, a little bit low on that. I did let go of the jump on Yoshi a bit early, I think, or at least drop out Yoshi a bit late. Whoops. So yeah, I got a couple of decent clears. We actually did manage to clear the Koopaling boss rush that had me stuck for ages over the weekend. So that one took me about an hour, but you know, that happens sometimes. Okay, through here. Pretty understandable now, so let's tap this. Okay. I think I do have that timing. Missing with Yoshi's not great, but yeah, 50 coin is actually going to be the target location for bouncing onto Shell. It's just that, once again, not exactly getting a good position off Yoshi there. And not catching the red shell quite at its peak, I think. So. And we'll see. I had a few stumbles there, and so the lava timing might wind up as an issue, but we'll make it through everything so far. Okay, through we go. Kick this. Pretty gentle timing as we wait for that. There we go, directly onto Yoshi. No, actually still not able to do it, so. A little bit too far to the right, I think. I'm catching the shell early. It's not quite at the peak of its arc just yet. I mean, the shell arc off of the spring is going to be consistent, so it's just some kind of adjustment I should be doing in order to accommodate its spacing a little bit better. So yeah, we'll just continue to punch our way through eventually. Okay. As you can see, I actually am following the recommendation to do the backshot here, but that's usually because time is of the essence here, and given the spacing of getting under that corner of the low ceiling, the backshot here actually does feel fine, even though I'm not always nailing it. And at least it's nice to have that at the very beginning of the level, so if I'm dying to it, it's a quick restart. It's a more technical trick than anything else I'm doing for a while. Really anything else I'm doing. I mean, the backshot is actually the hardest thing. Like, I remember when I was seeing this originally, I saw that shell marker right at the start, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, what kind of Kaizo Fest is this going to be? But no, apart from that, it's basically just a jampy level the rest of the way. In terms of the actual technical requirements. Like, there's nothing really Kaizo-like about it, at least not in this edition. I don't know if that was true originally. So, nope, a little bit late getting off of that top corner there, so we'll fix that up in time. Still not doing that accurately all the time. So yeah, Electro Dude, hope you're doing well. I guess you have something different to look forward to on my stream now that subterranean spike wall saving is finally out of the way. In fact, now that that level is out of the way, I was able to run something like an unfinished business stream without that level just taking over the whole thing. Oh, I actually let up just a little bit too early. It seemed like I was able to make it. Okay. Gotta learn to back shots eventually, apparently. Also saw that you re-uploaded the Persona 5 Strikers level. I don't know if that was just a cheese fix or something else. Okay. There we go. Kick to the left. On to the spike ball. Still a little late on Yoshi here. Hopefully that... Oh, wow, total miss. Yeah, hopefully not able to not being able to get onto Yoshi right away isn't going to be too much of an issue with the lava timing. I kind of think it will be, though. I have a sneaking suspicion that if I don't land on Yoshi right away, that the lava level will get me into trouble later on. But I don't know how tight everything is going to be once I get up to the pokey segment up top, so... Yeah. I actually kind of like the subtle positional marking of the big coins. Yeah, a little bit late. No, it's still a little bit low. And... yeah, I need to figure out what's going on there. Maybe I'm supposed to make it over to the Munchers with Yoshi and then... like, I'm reading that as a dismount. But... is the position actually forcing a dismount? Like, I was just kind of assuming a dismount the whole time, and... I may even be wrong about that, so... Right before the boss keyed order was a POW in a ceiling, huh? Oh, I see, in your level. Supernova, welcome. So yeah, Supernova, just having a bit of an unfinished business stream. We got through a couple of things earlier that I didn't finish on viewer levels. Also got through that massive Koopaling boss rush that I was spending an hour on over the weekend. So yeah, Supernova, this is unfinished business in the loosest possible sense. This is actually the revised edition of a level that was sent to me on my very first viewer level stream ever. I built on a new level in I Am the Supernova. Didn't Nintendo just delete that? How is he even here? Whoops. Okay, let's fix up the back shot first of all. Sort of funny to think about how calm I feel about this back shot now. Even though I'm not making it that much of a time. I just sort of feel totally comfortable with the idea that I will make it often enough that I will have a series of good attempts on the level. Well, let's get too complacent about it, that is. Okay, under we go, over. And yeah, let's see how we do. I should play your new level. Yeah, there's a new mole level, isn't there? That's the thing about Supernova levels these days, is that you have to play them before they get too cool. You know, before they become the hot new thing that all the kids find refreshing. Always up for mole levels, though. I mean, increasingly, as I've said before, I'm thinking of moles as one of the most underrated elements in this game. People don't know how... People know they're good, but they don't know that they're fantastic. That Monty moles are actually incredible. Anyway, yeah. Too many shell checks for anything to be cheesed over there, so... And Supernova, yeah, Lecter has some really fantastic mole levels. Of course, I'm thinking of Meng's Pikmin level as well. That was a particularly unique usage of moles that I hadn't really seen before. Whoops. It actually made them seem fairly similar to Lemmings, which... You know, there's a bit of similarity between Lemmings and Pikmin, conceptually. Netcat, welcome. Yeah, Supernova, as I've often said, I've played far more parodies of refreshing levels than actual refreshing levels, because I don't play off the top list. I think I first heard about refreshing levels when people were kind of making send-ups and spoofs of them last year. Like, I think on the Loop and Garbo accounts, Loop had a refreshing level that was actually a surprisingly good boss. Like, it was kind of a spectacle, you know, set-up mega boss of the kind that Supernova makes, actually. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was disguised as a refreshing level. Okay. Whoops. And yeah, Nightbot has started to acknowledge the Cat Gang. I mean... Don't want the Cat Gang to start demanding protection money or anything from Nightbot, so... If you're a bot, best to be a bit cautious about it and make sure you're delivering the proper tributes. On Yoshi directly, great. I don't think I can make that landing on the Munchers as Yoshi. I think I have the right idea, and for some reason my timing is just off. That I need to land on a shell a little bit further to the left, perhaps, to catch it at the top of the arc. I think it is the shell landing position that I need to adjust. Okay. Yeah, it seems like Supernova that your account has really taken off recently. That I think a significant percentage of your all-time likes must have come from within the last month or so. It's always kind of nice that, you know, accounts can still be late bloomers that way. Because it seems like, you know, sometimes in Maker 2 that some people on the community side really did kind of come into this game with a sort of pre-cooked idea of who the big name makers were. And, you know, when a lot of the people in that sort of first generation of people coming in from Maker 1 start to drop out from attrition, then if they're all you know, then what do you do, right? So I don't find I have that problem. I feel like I've found so many good makers who like really started becoming prominent in Maker 2. Some of them aren't really prominent as they should be yet, but we'll get them there. But yeah, it's very easy for people to just kind of be attached to this idea of, like, here are the good big name makers, and for the community to stay alive, you don't want that to become too concrete. Which is sort of funny because I was, you know, aware of Supernova last year because of the Dragon Boss. Nowadays, it's like the Maker equivalent of knowing who the Beatles were when they were still in Liverpool and playing as the Quarrymen. And yeah, Natcat, I find that with the followed list, it's always a bit of a difficult decision, like whether you want your followed list to mostly be populated by active people or populated by people who you are waiting to come back, so you can be alerted when they have something new. Because there's definitely been some attrition, but there's been a lot of really good makers to replace the kind of first wave of people who are high on the all-time charts as well, and I feel like that deserves attention. Like, people don't really pay enough attention in some cases to just how much good stuff is still going on now, and I don't remember the Dragon Boss being artificially difficult, but you know, I'm generally much more tolerant of long stretches. Like in a whole second half where you go over the tail, you know? I don't remember having a problem with the difficulty. I did stream it at some point. I mean, it would take me quite a while to dig through to figure out when I did so, but okay, let's get up here. Okay, back down, and then we'll see. Land on Yoshi accurately. A little bit to the left. There we go. No. I think I might have let up on shoulder button a little early that time, though. Like, I feel like the positioning was actually not bad. It felt like I was getting enough height. It certainly looked like I was getting enough height. Oh, if you lose Link in the second section, the punishment is a garbage death pipe. Okay, I think maybe I just didn't lose Link in the second section, and so who knows. Natcat, never mind the older levels. I think it's probably a normal experience to just have regrets about your levels as soon as you publish them. I mean, I guess, you know, the more you learn about the game, the more regrets you can have. Like, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a reason that I have no intention to remake or revisit anything I did in Maker 1. Even though at the time, in Maker 1, I felt like I was putting a ton of work into everything I was doing, and polishing it off with the full range of the technique available to me. I guess I need Yoshi. Wait. That doesn't seem right. What's going on with the Pokies there? I guess I actually do need Yoshi then. So yeah, because Yoshi gobbles up the Pokies, and that's the way to do it. Oh, I have a slide. You know what? That's right, it's a slope. Spoiler alert. Okay. I still remember sliding for the first time in Super Mario 3 when I was playing it for the first time. Like, maybe I don't remember the exact moment, but I remember that the slide was something in the moveset that really stuck out at me. And of course it's introduced very early as something for you to play with, but... And Electrodude, you have to lurk? Yeah, have a good lurk. We actually do have an exclamation mark lurk command nowadays, since people kept trying it even before I implemented it. So I thought, okay, we might as well just put it there. Okay. Okay, that could have been worse. Yeah, a little bit too slow there. Because the lava level should have been lower at that point in order for me to make it through. That's pretty much the finale, so... Yeah, Supernova, I don't know if you're lurking for real or if you're just testing that, but if you are lurking for real, have a good lurk, I guess. Okay, let's pop this over here. And up we go. So yeah, it looks like we'll need to, whoops. First of all, remember to dodge that with the bone shell, and secondly, use Mario's Tushy a little faster. Yeah, I guess I should put something in Unlurk as well. I mean, I didn't really think to have a lurk command until people started trying it, so I guess the same logic would apply to Unlurk as well. The same logic does apply to Cat Gang, by the way, given that some of you folks were, well, Mang specifically, was trying a Cat Gang command before there was such a thing. Okay. Here we go. Honestly, this feels pretty relaxed for something sub 1%. Just a couple of inaccuracies to sort out, but this really feels so approachable. Of course, the pacing issue here is, whoops, something we'll only be able to resolve once I have a more accurate shell shot, but... Yeah, Netcat, I remember Cat Gang being a thing on your stream, I just don't remember what the command is. I suppose we see lots of cats. Whoops. Okay, that's a look at chat death. Or in this case, a look at le chat. Supernova trying to make the canines happen is just not going to happen. Okay. Through we go. And up. And through. And Spike Ball comes down. Get on Yoshi quickly. Good. Not quite. Oh yeah, let up too early again, I think. I think I could have made it. I don't know why I'm letting up so early. I think it's because I just have a poor estimate of when the landing is going to happen. Anyway, no need to bark up the wrong tree. Okay. Through we go. And up. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Wait. That's a little too long. Yeah, it's pretty much timed that I go as soon as the spike ball spawns from the pipe. So there is a consistent timing there. Occasionally I wait a little long. If you're talking about the shell at the end before you get up to the pokies, yeah, I mean, I am letting up into full jump too early, though. Like, it's an avoidable mistake. But it's kind of true that if you try to hit the coin, like the 50 coin dead center, that does come out a little bit low. Like, I am deliberately hedging left a bit, so I can get off the red shell accurately. Whoops. Pulled back too much. Also, I kind of like how the sort of major markers in this level do have one 10 coin, one 30 coin, and one 50 coin in sequence. I think. Or are there multiple 10 coins? I think there might be multiple 10 coins. Let me see, because there's a 10 coin that's off the cheap at the beginning. 50 coin is, of course, the bit we were having difficulties with the red Koopa shell. Yeah, okay, no, never mind. Multiple coins, I think. Because of a 30 coin here. Well, there's the 5 big coin limit anyway, so. Okay, as soon as it spawns, we go down, get up on Yoshi. We hold. That's to clear. And yeah, Netcat, if you found some weird things with the block activation, do let me know what it is. I mean, even if you do have to diagram it out on the Discord channel or something, do let me know how it goes. Interesting optimization there to get that down to 34 seconds. Okay. So yeah, okay, 4 straight clears today. I was not intending this to be a particularly long stream, so I don't know if I'll be doing anything additional. There is one thing that I want to return to in case there are any particular ideas for it, but I do not really think I'll be staying on it too long. Just give me a moment to dig up the code here. Yeah, usually with the puzzles, I'll just kind of keep them to their own stream, but this is one I had a bit of trouble with. I haven't looked at in a few weeks because I just hadn't had any ideas, but apparently I'm missing something really obvious. Thank you for all the GGs. So this one here, it can't possibly be that hard. Lots of people have gotten the clear. I'm just missing something. Yeah, like these people all know how to do it. And they all are at least half decent at puzzles. So I'm missing something really obvious in this level. I haven't looked at it in a while, as I said. This will be the closer today, whether I actually finish it or not, though. I don't think I have time for much more beyond this. So anyway, you get POW blocks that go to the left and right. The first POW block allows you to go up to retrieve the spring. So you can see that there are going to be a couple of problems here. That's the idea, I thought, is to send a mushroom down the bottom row. Then it goes through the bumper, it falls into the trap in the bottom right. You bust this block open, and then as Small Mario, somehow, you go in. Here's the problem. You can only bust this open if you're big and you have the mushroom already. Unless I'm missing some kind of turn block activation that has not occurred to me yet. Anyway, we did figure out a whole bunch of techniques in terms of getting to various places in this level. So, for example, you can drop this here. And that would take you through to the center, which would allow you to grab the mushroom early if you wanted to. If you do grab the mushroom early, though, you have a problem, in that you don't actually have a way to get down here. Unless there's something like a push interaction to get you through, but I doubt it. So anyway, that's likely to be failure. I'm don't think I'm supposed to get a mushroom that early. Let's wait this out. Might be something going on with the reset door usage that I'm also not thinking about, though. Anyway, we drop this. We grab a surface to work with. And so here's the other thing that we worked out, is that when the POW that is flying lifts the blaster, it's possible to grab this other POW. Like, it's possible to do it. I'll just try to demonstrate. It is also possible to take the spring through with us now, because here's how it works. That if you wanted to get the spring into the middle section, you can drop this POW here. And I believe this will lift. Not quite. Need to reposition this. No, it does work. Just need to be a bit more precise about it. So if you want to take the spring through the middle here, you can do it. And if you do that, then you're allowed to use the spring to raise a mushroom up to the top level. So I think you can kind of get a mushroom deflection if you drop it in such a way that a mushroom would fire and hit the spring and bounce off the wall, perhaps. So for example, let's say I stand here. Let's see if it... Okay, no, that's wrong. But if you were to stand here, then mushroom is able to push through. So here's the issue, that... First of all, I don't know what to do with the POWs going to the right side. And secondly, if I bust this open with a mushroom, I don't know if there's a way that I can take damage. I don't think there is. So we basically need one of two things to fill in this solution. Either we find a way to open up this block without the use of a mushroom, or we find a way to take damage now. And I don't see either possibility. So that's basically where we're at with this. And I have not made any breakthrough whatsoever. I'm apparently missing something really obvious. Because a couple of people who were... Well, at least Mamuga, who was watching this when I was originally doing it, did figure it out pretty quickly. And it's unusual for me to get stuck on something like this. I feel like we haven't, first of all, made use of sending the POW to the right. Also, if the spring is in this position to get the mushroom to bounce up here, the issue that we have is getting the mushroom on the right to deflect left, because I mean, it could bounce against something off screen perhaps and fall into the trap down here. I was sort of hoping that we would have some way to have an object here, like the POW, for instance, to obstruct this location. But without a way to somehow hit this block, not sure what more we can do. It's true that I'm not really making use of these reset doors yet. That might be really important. What might also be important is the ability to take the POWs and, you know, cart them around somehow. But let's see, because this gives you this much height. spring, if we were to lower it, would allow me to go up with the POW. Doesn't quite help. Let's do a quick restart just to reset the timer on this. That will be getting back into a starting state anyway. So for example, let's say we drop this. Let's say we grab the other POW. Does this give me enough height? No, but if I had POW and this, then I would be able to with some object up here. Or reverse that, of course. I mean, obviously I can snatch that POW underneath the blaster in the center, but I still don't have a clear idea of what that does for me other than allow me to smuggle the spring into the central location. And I'm the supernova. That's an interesting claim. I don't know if I want to necessarily do some kind of quantitative comparison of how enigmatic that is going to be. But anyway, you can see we can grab the POW here. Maybe I can do some kind of swap with the POWs somehow. But yeah, I still don't really see what's going on with this location. So, I mean, there's that central contradiction that I can't seem to resolve. That, like, I feel like I do see the general shape of how the solution is supposed to go, in that objects like the mushroom are going to pass through the bumper. But I'm not. Like, I feel like I must drop through here while small. So the question is, if I have to drop through here while small, then what could I possibly do to activate this, given that there's nothing like a P-switch and no other kind of object that would just smack that directly? What's the level code for this? I can give you the maker code, and it is the most recent level on that maker profile. I probably do have the level code written down somewhere, but here's a Bird Dog's maker code. Okay. How? Let me see about this. Spring and POW. Yeah, so I know how to get the spring in the center. The issue is that when you see the flying POW lift the blaster in this lower position here, it doesn't really help very much in terms of being able to get the mushroom spawn. So, because as you'll see, one thing that I had previously tried was to, hang on, take this, whoops, let's dislodge this a bit. Punch through here. So yeah, I mean, I can re-grab this POW. And I can even send it up. Oh, here's an interesting idea. Okay, I now know how to get the mushroom through the trap, maybe. Oh, no, I don't actually, because there's one issue that you'll see with the POW when I remove the bottom layer, which is that the blaster will never actually be lifted high enough to fire, I don't think. But yeah, no, I've solved one issue here. Soft drop the POW onto the spring. And then now you have a mushroom blocker. Here's the problem. That now if I place this here, when I have the POW push the blaster up, the blaster will actually never have enough room to spawn a mushroom. So that's the issue. That's... like, I know how to take the POW through, and I know how to take the POW through with the spring already here. What I don't know how to do is do anything about the flying POW. Because I've tried a couple of things here before, and it seems like as long as the spring is in this position, this guy just never spawns the mushroom. Because the flying POW doesn't actually lift it up to full tile. It only lifts it up kind of a little under the full tile. Creating the wall here, though, with using POW on top of trampoline is something that kind of works. And that's something we should keep in mind. But... yeah, and of course here I'm still able to get a mushroom to spawn. But actually getting the mushroom to, you know, go somewhere interesting is a different question. So... yeah, you can see a mushroom is going to be just fine, but I don't have a way to deal with it. And given the position of the flying POW, I don't know if there's a way I can pick it up. It is possible for me to take... so let's suppose we grab the mushroom. Whoops, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Grab this guy here. There might be some kind of, like, object pushing manipulation that we can be doing here, but... never did manage to figure that out. And this thing is still a problem. That unless I have a way to take damage, I just don't see what I'm supposed to do with that. So the question is there a way to take damage? I've tried doing any kind of ceiling squeeze before, and that doesn't seem to work. I don't know if that's something that I just mechanically gave up on too early, but it does not really appear to do the trick. So yeah, I mean, anything I would be able to take through the reset door, maybe? I don't know. I haven't used the reset doors at all. That's one important thing to note. That if the reset doors are actually part of the puzzle, I don't know how they fit in. But unless we see some kind of damage source, then yeah, that's kind of an issue. Maybe there's something to the stacking on the flying POW that I don't really understand. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, as before, if I just go back to the central section, let's just see if anything could potentially happen here. Okay. So we know how to grab this POW. We know what to use it for at least in terms of the door re-entry, is just from that point on, it's not clear to me what is really even interactable here. I furthermore know how to take this POW with me over here, which would then allow me to go up with these two. And which would actually allow me to swap POWs. And because if you go POW stacked under spring on the bottom, then I can take the flying POW up with me and take it over this way. But I'm not sure how that's useful. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the possible space of interactions that I have not tried, and like it's such a streamlined puzzle that I don't really see it. I know that if I respawn anywhere while holding this POW, that blaster's going to stay down. Letting the blaster down also allows me to warp through that door and drop in elsewhere as needed. But it's hard to see why this would be useful. Like, you can respawn here all you want, and... Now the question is there anywhere that would benefit from a POW activation? Because that's something I don't see. And is there any particular use to the arrow segment up front? Seems not. So yeah, this one... I don't know. I don't actually feel any closer to the solution than I was the last time I saw it. Like, I still think the idea of taking the spring through to the middle is fundamentally sound. I can also take flying POW through to the middle. That would be okay, except I don't have a way to drop the spring in there afterwards. So, for example, if I wanted to take flying POW through to the middle, this is how I would do it. You drop this guy. And you pick up this guy. I don't know if that accomplishes anything whatsoever. It does prevent the POW from spawning in the middle because, of course, you're holding it. Aside from a clear recognition, this puzzle feels very Maker 1 in a good way. I wonder why it is. Probably just because of the raw simplicity of it. And the fact that this kind of a scrolling mechanism you can build in Maker 1, you know, without scroll stop tools. Given that all it is just an auto scroll to the right. But yeah, actually, literally everything here can be made in Maker 1. I don't know if the logic quite lines up, but in terms of whether or not there would be minute engine differences that change whether this is possible. I still feel like taking the spring through here is the right idea. But I can't say that for a fact. Yeah, I guess. Like, we can have this POW available, we can do this. Notice that the flying POW is, of course, not spawning, so what does that mean? We can do all kinds of things, like, you know, actually the drop location here isn't going to go straight down, is it? It's going to go elsewhere. Like if you had something like this. Yeah, I guess one thing we could do is find a going to trap that mushroom. Because ideally the interaction I'd want is for a mushroom spawn to get bounced up here and hit something like the POW and then deflect. Which still doesn't solve this. There probably is some kind of obscure interaction with winged objects that I don't know, and which I need to figure out. Possibly taking this through the reset door might do something for me. Nope, not really. Doesn't do anything, in fact. Yeah, I feel like being able to snatch the POW away from there is essential. And is perhaps essential for reasons other than being able to smuggle the trampoline into the middle door, which we've been doing. I wonder if it's possible to kind of transpose the blaster position. Yeah, you got the POW there. The POW has performed one function already by allowing me to take the spring. The spring is in a position where mushrooms will spawn to the right. And that still doesn't solve my issue, though. Because I'm thinking about like what we can do with the flying POW now. Given that these two objects are sort of still trapped in this middle area and need to be in the middle area for this to work, what do we do about the flying POW? Given that I have to come out to interact with it, I'm not exactly sure. But the fact that you could get like a really high deflection... Well, no, I mean, if you're standing in such a position that allows you to take the blaster upwards, or rather have the POW spawn and have it give it that push, it's also going to be a position where the mushroom spawn isn't going to happen just because of where you're standing. So, something's missing here. I mean, you can take advantage of the fact that mushrooms are plentiful, but is there a way to take damage, perhaps? And what does the collision logic with the flying POW actually do? Yeah, this one I may just have to return to. I mean, I just haven't come up with a new idea for it since I last looked at it, so we might have to bail on that one. Yeah, regardless, kind of decent progress on the stuff I did manage to see today. I may end fairly soon here, though. But yeah, I got through 4 levels that were previously uncleared on the stream. And they were all fairly long, so good that we managed to get all of that, even if we couldn't close out when POWs fly. So I think it's better to end this one relatively early, you know, save up some energy for viewer levels over this weekend. And yeah, Red Knight, I was very close with both of these on previous attempts during viewer levels, but You know, this one I was within one jump of the finish. This one I was fairly close as well. They both went down really easily today. Like, I got both of these down within the first hour. And Red Knight actually did come in for at least part of that. So that was nice. So yeah, I think I am going to call it at this stage then. Do need to just take that bird dog puzzle and workshop it a bit further. Perhaps, but yeah, there are so few interactions that are even possible there that I've got to be missing something. There are only so few moves that you can even make. Anyway, as usual, tomorrow and a day after, in the same time block, we'll be doing viewer levels. And yeah, hopefully we'll get a slightly earlier rather than later start than advertised, but we'll see how that goes as always. In the meantime, I will scan around for a raid for those of you who are still miraculously staying up or getting ready for breakfast or doing whatever it is you do. But that will be all for this stream for me, and we'll see how the Maker program is going to go from here. So, viewer levels the next 2 days, and then who knows, we'll possibly mix things up a bit. Anyway, great clears today, so thank you all you folks for coming by. Thanks for watching, and have a good night, or a good morning, or whatever else, wherever you are, and we'll send you on in just a moment. So, fare thee well.